All right, welcome everybody to Back in Toons. It's our own personal Shark Week. I'm your host, Michael, and my co-host,
Jacob. If I
Jacob.
sound sniffly, I'm sorry.
It's allergy season where he lives, so it's kicking him in the rear. So you're gonna hear a little bit of ah,
I
which,
only know pedal.
which might actually fit in with Street Sharks. All right, so we're
Yeah.
gonna be discussing Street Sharks and Jabberjaw. Jabberjaw is a little bit harder. You were not able to find it. But if you're looking for Jabberjaw episodes, there is a website that's pretty safe called Funnier Moments, and they're solely devoted to cartoons, especially rare cartoons that are not on DVD or out of print. But you don't have that ability, which is a bummer. So we'll just watch Street Sharks. The first episode is called Shark Bait, and we'll kind of hit on Jabberjaw as we fade out of Street Sharks. Cool?
Sounds good.
All right. So
That's just dandy.
You said the first episode's called Shark Bait. That's right.
Shark bait. Hoo-ha-ha.
Shark Bait.
Yeah. Of course. I think for me, I think if I guess this is a way to get kids to like sharks because everyone's always telling them, "Oh, sharks are bad. They'll eat you. Just watch Joyce." When they're really not. They're very important to our ecosystem. They help keep some fish from overpopulating.
Well, but at the same time, it's not like they can be pets. They are vicious monsters if given the opportunity. But don't give them the opportunity.
Yeah, just don't get cut and go swimming. Don't let any blood flow in the water.
Hey guys, I was in the kitchen all day long and I cut off 4 of my fingers. Do you want to go surfing? Do not. Yeah, no,
it's like one person could be. I mean, maybe like what's the maximum number? 4 people are killed a year by shark attacks. Yeah. And every 4 that are killed, people tend to kill 5,000. Yeah, heck, some people just kill for shark fin soup.
This is true. We kill a lot of sharks. All right, so Street Sharks, Shark Bait. It's up on YouTube. Go ahead and hit play now.
Yeah. Honestly, I do like sharks. I just don't want to go swimming with them because they play a little too rough.
And they also make really crappy Sci-Fi Channel movies. Can we get over the massive wave of giant sharktopuses and what is it, Dino Shark and Ghost Shark? Every week there's a new shark. It's ridiculous. Oh, Sharknado, of course, has been the epitome of excess of sharks.
Yeah, and of course people are always watching Shark Week, to learn about sharks, their habitats, how they swim, how they feed, what they feast on. It's not necessarily human flesh. It's fish. They try to keep fish from getting too big. It's a natural. It's all a big chain. It's all a big link.
All right, so Street Sharks, I have absolutely no memory of this show whatsoever. Yet it was on for quite a while.
Well, growing up in the 90s, I mean, there was a lot of advertisements for it, and a huge toy line. And there were some pretty cool there were some pretty cool toys. They were like kind of rubbery at the top, mostly like plastic legs. They were like kind of flexible, and they had like this really cool biting jaw action.
Did they have vehicles, or is it just as is?
Sometimes they were just as is. I think there were some vehicles that they go in. I don't know. I do remember them traveling around in a van. Not like the Ninja Turtles, but, mainly because I think a van would be the only thing that would hold these big guys.
Do you think this Do you think this is derivative at all of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
No, not really.
Yeah, I was kind of noticing it seems like maybe it probably got greenlit because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being so popular. But it does seem to have its own style and a unique way of approaching it. That wasn't like, oh, well, this is just like, what was it, radioactive black belt hamsters? Adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters. It's pathetic. I still remember that.
Or Barnyard Commandos.
Yeah. I forgot about that show. Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of shows around that time where it was a bunch of armed or kung fu fighting anthropomorphic characters. There's Extreme Dinosaurs, right?
Oh yeah, Extreme Dinosaurs. This actually would cross over with it eventually.
No kidding. And there's
Battletoads. But here it's like, but here's definitely dealing with like cross species genetics, kind of like what they went over in the plot of Amazing Spider-Man 1 with the lizard.
Yeah.
But this time with aquatic animals. I guess this guy's just doing it because he wants to manipulate and rule the world. Evil mad scientist.
Who's really obviously a villain. I mean, it's kind of a stupid design and it's a little obvious. But since it's a toy, you gotta sell it to the kids. You gotta make it a little obvious.
I know. Well, it got me to like. Well, I mean, it definitely got me to like sharks. I'd say something crazy like, "Mom, I want a pet shark." She'd be like, "Yeah, wait till you're an adult and you can buy your own, okay?"
Yeah, and then I'll be calling you my handless son.
I know. Like, just
Okay,
whatever you do, don't get cut. Don't show any blood. That makes them go crazy.
okay, I have to ask this. Why does the villain have a metal eye patch? Why is it metal with rivets? Is it drilled into his face? Is it just put together that way? Why would you need metal? I think it would be like chafe, like a lot.
Probably because he's a huge metal fan. He probably lost it at a mosh pit.
Like an Iron Maiden concert. Yeah, Metal Slayer.
Look at him. Well, yeah, look at him. Just look at the guy. Just look at the guy.
Yeah, I bet you he has a couple of Dio shirts in his closet.
Okay, so basically, this guy, yeah, he wants to create a perfect species. So he's manipulating their DNA, which is kind of cool. Gets kids into science and aquatic and marine biology. What do you think?
Oh, sorry. I was interested in something here. This show was part of a package that Deke put together in the mid '90s, and it was 3 shows. It was Street Sharks, Sky Surfer Strike Force. Remember we did that episode?
Hey.
Princess Guinevere and the Jewel Riders. Man, I don't know any of these shows.
I don't know if Guinevere and the Jewel Raiders. Seems silly.
Yeah, and then they would package it with other shows like Highlander, Mighty Max, and the Mask TV show. You know, the one from the Jim Carrey movie?
Yes, I do. I watched all of those, actually.
Actually, it's funny is I wanted to do an episode where we talk about all 3 Jim Carrey cartoons. Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, yeah, we do have to discuss those. Especially if Jim Carrey decides to come up with a new movie soon.
Yeah. Well, Dumb and Dumber 2 wasn't that great.
But it definitely took the weekend box office. I guess it was highly anticipated.
Oh, it was. You know what? I didn't realize the Dino Vengers is what they started off as, and then they turned into Extreme Dinosaurs.
Right.
And this is actually a Canadian cartoon. It was partially funded by an American company, but it was all produced in Canada. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, and this show, just a little moment ago, it just showed, Fission City, how it's, highly polluted. And... Oh, sorry, my nose. Oh, I can actually breathe through it again. Oh.
Did you use nasal crom? That's right, nasal crom.
Yeah. And so, it just kind of shows you that...
You were suffering something awful, aren't you?
I know. That CO2 is burning. You should be more environmentally aware and, start being a little bit more green, people.
This show was on for 3 years. I'm kind of surprised. Most of the cartoons we watched that are syndicated, this was not on a network. This was purely syndicated. Most of the syndicated shows were a 1-year strip of 65 episodes. If you were lucky, you got to 2 or 3 seasons. It's really, really rare. You'd have to be like massively successful like G.I. Joe or Transformers. This was on for 3 seasons, 40 episodes. So I wonder if it was syndicated, but then they would pad like... You know how when you watch cartoons on Saturday morning, they'd start at like 8 o'clock in the morning and go to around 11? Well, it always seemed like some stations always had like a little bit before 8 o'clock and a little bit after 11 o'clock, and it could be anything. It would be like Saved by the Bell, or what's that, NBA Jam, or it'd be reruns of old cartoons. But I bet you this is one of those where they padded either Saturday or Sunday morning with.
Yeah. I like how it shows diversity between all these brothers. My gosh, 4 boys growing up with all of them around the same age. That's got to be terrible.
Oh, the size of Winnebagos. These are huge, muscle-bound goons.
That they are. I mean, gosh, just the football brother, just like straight up bashing through everything and knocking over a whole goalpost. He's got to be a robot, honestly. I mean, yeah, he can be a big muscle-headed jock, but still. And then of course you got this little extreme sports rollerblader kid, something relevant to the '90s, and then going off the roof and skydiving. That's awesome.
When's the last time you saw someone on rollerblades? We were just discussing this on our Trash Cinema episode where we discussed rollerblading movies. It used to be everywhere. I mean, I rollerbladed. All my friends rollerbladed. And it was like in every commercial, tons of stuff. But all of a sudden, you don't see it anymore. It's just like dead in the water.
Oh.
Was it because all the older people started picking it up and we thought it was dorky? And they're like, we can't do that.
I know. People just stick to ice skating still. And then, of course, then there's this guy on the Harley. That's pretty awesome. Riding his way around. Yeah, each of them have their own specific set of intelligence.
Some not so
And
much, and some really smart.
this guy right here, though, the big jock guy. I mean, he's on a skateboard. That's awesome. It just shows he's a bit of a punk and a rebel. He may be a jock, but he's also rebellious.
As
And
long
then
as they
there's
don't start asking for pizza, then okay, wait, a jetpack? Where does he get a jetpack from?
I guess because their father's a very inventive professor. Yeah, see, and it shows that these kids are very observant. All of a sudden, they realize he has his father's watch, but it's like, oh wait, our mom gave it to him. He would never give that away. Of course. Well, it just shows that they're not stupid at all. That's good. Finally, smart heroes.
Oh, okay. There's one thing. There's a sticking point for me with this cartoon, and I know that they're toys and it's a toy line, but some of the designs are truly awful. I mean, there's hideous crap, and it's really hard for me to look at these characters and not go, this is second-rate or third-rate animation, and it's a bit rough. And I know that's probably gonna make some fans of the show angry, but you have to admit, Deke was not exactly top of the line, nor were the designs on the show. Still, it's entertaining, it's fun, and I'm sure it meant a lot to the kids who watched it when it was on. Like I said, I'm coming to this very late, so I'm almost 40 and I watch it now, and it's hard for me to connect to it.
Honestly, if you cooked that lobster, dude, I think it would make a lot of people. It would solve world hunger.
No, it would.
Somewhat.
That's a massive. And what's his name? Slobster, is that right? Slobster. That's just gross.
Lobster, yes. I'd eat them. I'm like, I'm gonna boil you. Maybe get some butter dipping sauce. I'm hungry. Oh man. But honestly, as far as I know, the other guy's a swordfish. But why is his nose shaped like a screw?
I don't know. No idea. It's some sort of modification afterwards.
Yep.
There's a lot of
I don't know.
there's a lot of transformations in cartoons that don't make any sense, and you're just like, that looks like it would have hurt a lot, or that doesn't make sense whatsoever.
Exactly. Plus his nose would be extremely heavy. Why is it golden too?
Yeah, I don't know. It would have to be an add-on. It might have been part of the kit, just like attach it to the nose. But yeah, the weight of gold is so much that first off, isn't gold really soft? So that's a horrible drill. It wouldn't go through anything. It would just kind of like fall apart. And B, it's so heavy that he would constantly have like serious neck issues, constantly picking it up off the ground. So yeah, it's kind of a dumb choice.
Yeah. No. Oh look, a brunette witness. She ran away. Oh, and the monster city would kill her. What kind of monsters are that to not kill a witness?
They're just not doing their jobs, man. Good henchmen are very hard to find. You got to offer benefits like good insurance, days off, stuff like that. You just can't just go out there and go, what, minimum wage. I'm going to expect quality with my henchmen with that kind of pain.
Yep. Well, I like how this cartoon is also environmentally aware. Lack of ozone, so much carbon burning. Pretty much like it is today. It's like these are early signs of climate change.
Well, yeah, there weren't a lot of cartoons back in the day that focused on environmental issues. I think Captain Planet, of course, is the trendsetter. Were there any others besides? Oh, yeah. I mean, this obviously has some sort of. You know what? Even Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of had a thing, and I just said Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I just made that a non-word.
Power Rangers did a bit.
Did they?
Yeah, Power Rangers touched on environment and recycling and cleaning up. They touched on everything. Of course, bullying, picking on someone and all that. Oh, look, now they're turning into sharks. This transformation has begun.
You must be a step ahead of me. I have them eating hamburgers. Let me fast forward. Oh, there they go.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? It would have taken you out of this cartoon if it turned into like American Werewolf in London, where they're just screaming their heads off in agony, just like, "Oh God, help me! The pain!" Every child in the world would have turned that off, going, "Mommy, I don't know what to do, but I need therapy."
Okay, so you can tell that one's a great white. That's a tiger shark. That is a whale shark. Although whale sharks don't have teeth, from what I know, what I remember. Okay, the first thing to do, even when they're hungry, is to vandalize and destroy a hot dog cart. Are they going to pay for that? They better. I mean, their father's a scientist. They should be making some mad money.
Okay, but sharks, I didn't realize sharks would just eat anything. They ate that whole cart. Everything in that cart. Not food, just everything.
I know, what is their teeth made out of? Like, my gosh. I mean, it's some extremely strong organic material.
Well, it's funny because sharks' teeth fall out, right? Constantly. They have like a ton of teeth.
I know
So,
they can't even brush their teeth. It's sad.
well, maybe they have adamantium laced teeth. Wolverine's gonna come and collect.
Possibly. Huh? Say that again.
What? Oh no, I was saying Wolverine's gonna come and collect the adamantium teeth away from them.
I know, but that would make sense. That means their whole skeleton would have to be made of
Yeah,
adamantium.
these are seriously strong sharks. They're eating metal. They're going through cement. They're actually causing quite a bit more damage than they should.
This woman, yeah, and finally she fades.
Oh, and is this
It's like
shark on rollerblades? Holy crap, that's awesome.
oh, I know. I mean, it was definitely for the '90s, and she's still terrified. It's like, well, we're not going to eat you, otherwise we would have already, lady. See, here they are.
And the
Here they
cops
are.
just follow the path right back.
Pretty much, yeah. And discrimination. It's like, oh, they're giant sharks. They're monsters. Kill them. Don't try to figure them out. Just kill them.
Look at the size of that cell phone. That cell phone is enormous, but that actually was probably small at that time.
Yep, original cell phones and portable phones. And now they're swimming through the streets. Oh my gosh, so much structural damage. If they did that, oh my god, our entire infrastructure would crumble if they existed today and just swam right through the streets. It's that bad.
I love the glasses. It's very. You know what's funny is I look at this and it's Deke, but it kind of has a slight Marvel tinge to it. You know, when Marvel do X-Men and stuff like that, it has that kind of look, like Wildcats did as well.
Yeah, I kind of see that in the background. You can tell. And he does look. Oh gosh, he does look like something like some Marvel guy. Why is she there? Why is she there?
That's an awfully
sit there
roomy
out of
vehicle,
nowhere.
I gotta say.
Huh?
It's an awfully roomy vehicle for all of them to fit. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely. I think that's
Now,
it's an old Woody.
did you have these toys?
Yes, I did. I had the Great White with the boots. That's the one I had. You just pull out back his fin, and he'd open his mouth and just chomp down.
Nice. Was it automated? Like you pulled back on the fin, or it was a one? Like a one, you had to pull it every time you wanted to open the mouth.
Oh, you pull it every time.
Oh, okay.
And they also had different variations of it. They also had like these, little giant hand puppets. They're all like muscular and rubbery. You're pretty much just gonna hand fight with your friends.
Yeah.
It's like it's a very masculine male version of patty cake, and you probably end up getting upset and angry and start hitting your friend in the face.
As unrealistic as it is that he was able to eat the sign and put the car in the sign, that's actually a funny idea.
I know. And honestly, I don't see how they aren't choking from all that gravel and metal, or
Who
getting
knows?
stabbed from all the metal from what they're eating.
Now, I don't know much about sharks at all except for what I see in Jaws. Sharks will eat something and do they barf out the bones? Because they can't consume the bones. They just right, or do they eat the whole thing?
I'm pretty sure they eat the whole thing.
Really? If they were to mow down on me, they would take everything, just a whole shebang. Would they eat my glasses, or would they spit those out?
Probably.
Because if they can eat anything, then that kind of makes sense. If they're like super mutant versions, then they really can eat anything. I had a friend like that. We should have called him that. It's just a street shark.
Oh wow.
Are you turning into a shark
I think also
monster?
earlier when they were yeah, sorry, like I said, it's allergy season. I'm sorry. Sorry everybody. Please be patient. Bear with me. It's only a couple more weeks and it will be gone. Anyway, so so as far as it goes, when they were first transforming into sharks, you could definitely tell there was like a little tribute to Jaws in that music note. It's like dun 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 dun. Except minus eating people and blood and chum and all that.
I have to admit that I've lived in California quite a bit over the last 10 years. I mean, back and forth from Oregon, California, Oregon, California. I have never really been in the water. Santa Barbara, I put my feet in the water, and that was it. A, it's cold. B, it always looks grosser than it does in movies. And C, I'm terrified of sharks. Just flat out terrified of sharks.
Oh gosh, I understand. I mean, I don't blame you. I mean, they're giant creatures, but if who knows? You could be swimming along, and all of a sudden you end up kicking them. They're like, "Hey, what'd you do that for? Don't eat me! Don't hurt me!" Probably more. They have more reason to be afraid of us than we do of them. I mean, we kill
This is
We kill
true.
thousands. humanity kills thousands of them each year.
What is it?
And I think a lot of
Shark fin soup is supposed to be like for your wee wee, right? Get it like all going. Is that one of those things where you eat shark tail and it's supposed to make you aroused?
I don't know if it's an aphrodisiac. I just know it doesn't look that appetizing. I don't know why people want to keep eating it or why there's demand of such things, but it needs to go.
Why the fin of all things? Like the meat itself, okay. The fin? What's in the fin?
I don't know, but that's what people kill them for, just for those fins.
They
can make
they just cut the fin off and then they toss the shark back in the water?
No, they kill the shark.
Oh.
It's stupid. It's very, very stupid, and it's senseless. It's humanity. It's rich people. They get what they want.
Do you remember that movie Deep Blue Sea? Samuel Jackson?
Oh yeah. They ate me. A shark ate me.
I was thinking about it the other day. How that she was trying to extract stuff from their brains to cure Alzheimer's diseases, and it's such a weird thing to think about that these animals that have been around forever and ever and ever. I mean, the shark is ancient. Who knows what key is held in their genetic code beyond the shark fin? I mean, what is going on with the shark? Why have they lasted so much longer than any animal on this planet?
Yeah, I know. So you can say that for pretty much almost any fish and birds too. Birds too have been around forever.
Yeah, but certain birds. When I would say the shark, I mean like the great white has been around since prehistoric times, I think.
Yep. Government's involved. Everything's going downhill.
All right, so that's the end of Street Sharks. And we're gonna do Jabberjaw, but we'll just kind of flip through it real quick. That's where it says adapted for television. I'm pretty sure that wasn't based on a novel.
Or any graphic novel.
No, it was a comic book for a very short period of time, but a really short period of time. So no, it must have been. Some toy cartoon ideas. Someone writes like the outline of the characters when they're developing the toys, and then they'll have someone else come in and pad it out like a full story for either a comic book or a cartoon. Sometimes the same guy, sometimes not.
Dang. I had no idea. I was only a kid. I never had an idea about anything, really. Other than what Mom and Dad told me. And thankfully, I don't take their advice these days. At least when it comes to politics.
All right, so
thinking.
Here is the intro for Jabberjaw. I actually think it's quite amusing. Here we go.
Hi there, I'm Jabberjaw. Most futuristic shark you ever saw. I can walk and talk and look. He's so sharp, the things he does are unbelievable. I'm the latest, greatest shark you ever saw. Why, they just fall in this big dam. I don't get no respect.
Clearly a tribute to Curly of the Three Stooges.
If it was now, they would totally sue the snot out of them. Everybody's so litigious. There's no way that would exist without somebody getting some serious kickback cash.
Oh, most definitely. Good timing for Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. I think this came out right after Jaws, which is ironic because you would think that kids would not be interested in sharks because they were terrified. So I don't know what that was about. But yeah, it started in 1976, so it was right after Jaws. Huh.
Oh, wow.
And
I guess
it is produced by Hanna-Barbera, but it was actually created by Ruby and Spears, who would go off and do their own stuff within the next couple of years. And their catalog is pretty huge. It's just not as well known as Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. Oh, I remember, I think, around late 90s, like 2000. I remember Cartoon Network, whenever they would do, like, boomerang segments or show old cartoons.
Yeah.
Or in between some of the cartoons, they did these groovies, and they did one of Jabberjaw.
Yeah, I love those interstitials they used to do. That's where I first heard, there's a band called Junior Senior. They did a little short called Shake Your Coconuts. Do you remember that at all?
I don't remember that one in particular.
Shake your coconuts.
I just remember I just remember some of the tributes to like some of the old cartoons. Like they did one of Jabberjaw, and they did one of Josie and the Pussycats. Like you know, just thinking about Josie and the Pussycats, but like in different genres. Like
Yeah.
Original Josie and the Pussycats, then like going 80s retro, and then 70s, and then doing like a heavy metal Kiss kind of version, and then back to regular one at the end of it.
All
Yeah,
right.
they were called Cartoon Network Groovies. There's a lot of them.
I
Man.
miss the way that that it used to be. Cartoon Network, they had all these great originals, and they would throw in, the reruns, especially late at night. You'd catch a bunch of Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and stuff, and that all ended, and then it was Boomerang Network is where you went to get all the old cartoons. But now it's got to the point where all the Hanna-Barbera stuff has been ditched, and now it's like they're showing, Ed, and Eddie, Johnny Bravo. So, and I don't have a problem with that. But where are the old cartoons now? Are they going to start Boomerang 2?
Probably, or who knows? They might add them back into the lineup. They better. I'll be upset.
This was produced, and I think a lot of the design work was done by Alex Lovey, who worked a lot on like the old Woody Woodpecker cartoons. You can see a lot of his animation design, kind of the spirit of it in Jabberjaw, which is cool. And of course, Frank Welker again. I would say 90% of the cartoons that we've done, somehow Frank Welker shows up.
Yeah, he's in pretty much almost everything.
Man, that dude must have a good life right there. So many fans, so much support. People always want to hire him.
Oh yeah, and he probably still, for all I know, he could still be doing it to this day.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he actually is. So basically, this is a weird cartoon because it's set underwater in the future, and somehow Jabberjaw has like arms. They're not arms. It's weird. He acts like a human.
Fins, but
yeah, it's weird.
I know it's
there's time when it looks like real arms. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
more cross-species genetics.
No.
It's all there. It predicted Street Sharks. It was a setup for it. That's what it was.
There's a weird trend. I think it started with Flintstones and kind of rode out the 70s. But do you think it's weird when you watch a cartoon and there's a laugh track?
Some of them, yeah. I'm like, why? These people aren't actually watching, the cartoon being animated right in front of them and telling them the jokes. This makes no sense to have a laugh track.
Yeah. This show wasn't on very long. It was just one season, but it was one of those things that kept getting rerun, and he would show up in other things. Like I think he showed up in the Scooby-Doo Laugh Olympics and the Yogi Bear adventure show, stuff like that. But yeah, Jabberjaw kind of faded away, and for good reason. It's not exactly the most classic character.
No, well, it was pretty much an underground version of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Minus the marijuana references.
Yeah.
Plus, oh gosh, honestly, if Jabberjaw ever got the munchies, he'd probably eat his friends.
Probably he would be like, "Where's the rest of the Neptunes?" I have no idea. They're outside. I think I don't know. I gotta go.
Oh my god! I hate when a guy pops out. Oh my god, I'm still alive. Help me! Oh gosh, that's so mean. That's
All right,
so mean.
yeah, there's not a whole lot to say about Jabberjaw. I just want to kind of throw it out there. We were talking about shark cartoons. We always do a double feature now, and I was like, what else has sharks in it?
And it's such a huge tribute to, like I said, Curly. It's one of the most adorable of the Three Stooges.
You notice there's a little bit of a tribute to Rodney Dangerfield as well. When he says, I get no respect. No respect.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
No respect at all. Even in hell, I get no respect.
All right, so I think that's it for us here at Back in Toons. Thank you, everybody, for another great episode. If you have any suggestions, let us know. We're always looking for a good double feature. And check us out on Facebook, Retro Rocket Entertainment. That's Michael signing off.
All right, this is Jacob signing off. Have a good night, everybody. Namaste and good luck.
And always look twice before you cross the road and eat lots of pizza. Yep, that's my spiritual advice for the day. Don't
forget to drink your Ovaltine.
That's a better one. All right, everybody, good night.
Heathcliff, no one should terrify their neighborhood. But Heathcliff just won't be undone, playing pranks on everyone. There's a race to be on top. The competition doesn't stop. Mixing with the ladies fair, being charming. superiority. Oh, Heathcliff, no one should terrify their neighborhood, but Heathcliff just won't be undone. You should realize he can win with you.
All right, welcome everybody to Back in Toons. I'm your host, Michael, and my co-host.
Jacob, hey everybody. How have you all been? Hope you've had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day.
If you remember it at all.
Oh, I do. I didn't even celebrate it. It's all a lie.
I know, I think it's ironic that I'm Irish, and I was like, okay, actually, this is a lie. For the last 2 years, I've attempted to go to an Irish bar, or a pub, and I went to one last year in Sonoma, and I got there, and they're only serving one thing. Like, they have a fixed menu, and it was all like $20 for 4 things, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna go. I had to wander over and found a pizza place. I ate there, and then this year I tried to go into an Irish pub in Depot Bay, and I got there at noon or 12:30, and they were closed.
Ouch.
Yeah,
What?
so I ended up eating at this fish place, and my waitress looked just like Bridget Fonda. So hey, it's a win-win on my part.
All right. Hey. All
And then, of
all
course,
right.
the irony is the minute I got done eating, I started walking to the car. I saw the Irish pub had opened. Who opens at 1 o'clock on St. Patrick's Day? In San Luis Obispo, they would open up at 6 a.m. for the pub crawl.
I know, that's practically blasphemous. Now, about that pizza place, I want to ask, were the toppings corned beef and cabbage?
No, they were not. It was a gluten-free
Good,
pizza,
that's
I believe
disgusting.
barbecue chicken. So, yeah, I didn't even stick close to
Yeah.
it.
You know, honestly, that's not even a traditional Irish dish.
Oh, I know.
And St. Patrick's color wasn't even blue.
Nope.
I mean, it was blue, but it wasn't green.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I'm
what
sorry.
I'm saying.
You know, you ever respond to something, you're not really listening? I apologize. I was not really listening. You could have said, St. Patrick was actually a can of tuna fish. And I would have been like, yeah.
Yeah, no, St. Patrick's Day was the day he actually died, so we're kind of celebrating his death. God, we're a bunch of jerks, aren't
Yeah, we're creepy.
we? Evil.
All right. So this episode, we're doing a double cat feature. We're doing Heathcliff and Garfield.
Meow.
All right. So we're going through the Heathcliff stuff here, and there's 2 different series. I want to make sure that we're on the same page with this one. I have Heathcliff episode 1 on YouTube. Hold on. The volume is screwed up. All right. So the first episode we have up here on YouTube. It's a little confusing because the show is cut up into its segments. A lot of the cartoons back in the day were cut up into 10, 15-minute segments, and it would go that way, or 5-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute. This one is by Spinner Uni. It's Heathcliff episode 1. It literally is just that first chunk, that first 10-minute episode. So whenever you're ready, let me know.
Are we starting right now?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and hit play?
Yes, that's it. Play. Right meow.
All right, meow.
Yes, right meow. And we're starting right now.
You know what's funny is that joke from Super Troopers never gets old. I love to play that on people, just randomly throw out a meow.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's like, have a good day, meow. Like when I used to work in customer service, I would say that.
Would you ever get stares like, what? Did he just say what I think he just said?
Oh, they would kind of like puzzlingly ask themselves, like, did I just hear that guy say meow? Like as they were walking away. I'm like, watch, see, I'll get another one. Oh, how cool is this? Wait, aren't these the Alley Cats?
Well, the Cadillac Cats? I love the theme song to this. It reminds me of Happy Days. It's very 50s retro.
Yeah, no, yeah, I definitely, yeah. That's what this reminds me of, Happy Days. Aw, sneaky dog. Well, Keith, that's what you get for, abusing and whipping that dog. And of course, the dog just pretty much got a taste of his own karma.
Here's the weird thing is,
look at Heath.
it says this comic strip is still in syndication. It's been in syndication since '73, but I can't remember the last time I picked up a newspaper and actually saw Heathcliff. It's mostly just Garfield that I see all the time.
I'll have to look into this. I think I might have seen it when I was up in Oregon visiting my grandmother. The Great Poussine.
All right, so there is 2 different animated series for Heathcliff. There's the 1980 series, and then there's the 1984 series. I believe what we're watching right now is the 1984 series from Deke, not Ruby Spears. It has that look, because Deke did a lot of their stuff overseas. It has the same look as Inspector Gadget and Dennis the Menace. And, of course, Mel Blanc did the voice in both, I believe.
Oh, for a minute there, I thought. For a minute there, I thought the adult male was speaking. You know, like Charlie Brown. Like you never understand what the adults or the
wah, wah,
grown-ups
wah,
say.
wah.
Yeah, but no, it's Heathcliff just pretending to be an opera star, and now he's very jealous.
Now, I don't believe the first series was that successful. The second one was much more popular. I remember watching this quite a bit. I think it was on I don't want to say it was after school. I want to say it was like on the weekends, like on a Sunday morning. They used to syndicate it, like after My Secret Identity and Out of This World and stuff like that. And then there was the movie. I remember the movie.
Oh yeah, there is a movie. I think that might be on Netflix too. I'll have to look into it. But I will say this about Heathcliff: I would always watch it. Every Saturday morning it'd be on, and it was on when I was younger. I think it was all just like reruns.
Yeah, well, they reran it for a really long time. I believe for a while they licensed the rights to the Ruby Spears series, and then they ran the Deacon and the Ruby Spears series back to back. That way, you had more episodes to burn through.
I think, I can only think of I think the only version I did see was, I think this is the one, the Ruby Spears one.
No, this is the Deke one. You can tell the.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, look at the animation style. It's you can tell it's anime inspired, and it's more in vein with what they were doing with, like I said, Inspector Gadget and Heathcliff. The animation effects are, I don't want to say they're cheaper, but you can tell there's kind of a shadowy effect because I think it's less frames per second. I think they're reusing a little bit to extend the action.
I will say this: Heathcliff is a very jealous and angry person. You can already tell. I mean, look at it. He's just attacking his other cat friends. It's like, why?
Yeah, he's kind of a jerk. You know, it's funny is Heathcliff and Garfield are like yin yang. You know, Heathcliff was almost all outside, and he was kind of a rascal up to no good. And like literally, like some of his stuff would be borderline crimes. And you know, he was kind of like a tomcat, whereas Garfield was a house cat, big old tubby nothing. You know, just wanted to sit around and be lazy. Where this Heathcliff, man, he went out and got what he wanted. He was a go-getter, that's for sure.
Yeah. And Garfield just wanted to sit around and eat lasagna all day.
I hate Mondays.
And I think I think Garfield was a little bit of a psychopath because he was always trying to kill off Odie.
Yeah.
No matter how nice Odie was to him, he would always try to kill him.
You know, Heathcliff would have emotional outbursts, but he never really had that kind of like miserable, oh, everything sucks, I'm going to destroy everything that gets in my way. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I think Garfield might be a sociopath. I'm like
a lazier version of Groundskeeper Carl, which is why I think they got Bill Murray to do the voice of him for the movie.
Heathcliff kind of seems like Frank Sinatra of like the cat world. You know, he was emotional, but he had severe talent. He had his little rat pack, or I guess you want to call it cat pack.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know,
or for me, I thought he was just like a kid version of Fritz the cat.
Oh my God, Fritz the cat! I totally forgot about that. Yeah, Fritz the cat's like the R-rated version of Heathcliff. It's as if someone had created Heathcliff out of the popularity of Fritz, but had to tone it down, obviously, for newspapers.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, you know, little kids are going to be seeing that, especially if they're in the comic strip page. But like I said, in all honesty, I will have to say Fritz was like very philosophical, and of course, he was in like around college years. That's like where it took place.
Right.
I'm thinking I think someone had an idea what was Fritz like after college. Like, did he ever make it or what? And I think it got scrapped, and then it ended up becoming Heathcliff. Okay. And cats hate water. This is not. Oh, come on! You can tell this would never happen in real life.
Oh, you know what? It does say here that both Heathcliff cartoons ran together. That's weird. Both Heathcliff cartoons ran together from 1980 to 1988. That makes no sense. Whoever did this Wikipedia entry does not. That's impossible since the other cartoon didn't exist till 84. You know, I used to read this comic book from time to time. They had, I think we mentioned it before, there was a line that Marvel put out. Around 86, Marvel was celebrating this big anniversary, and they created Star Comics and New Universe. New Universe bombed almost instantly. It was like all superheroes, but in a whole different universe untied to the rest of the Marvel Universe, and no one cared. But Star Comics had something unusual. There are almost always tie-ins to either cartoons or comic books that already existed or toys. And they were known for like their He-Man, Sectars, Top Cat was one. I think it was Top Cat. And Spider-Ham, the amazing... Peter Porker, the Amazing Spider-Ham was the most popular one. And then they had
Oh,
Heathcliff.
yeah.
Heathcliff was actually quite popular. It ran for 56 issues. In fact, it might have been the most successful of all of the Star comics. I'm not sure. That's a long time.
I know, honestly. I mean, I think Spider-Ham, was definitely one of that has like a huge cult following because every time, every time I see like a little forum or topic or a Facebook post regarding Spider-Man, someone's always going to be mentioning it.
Yeah.
And even in like one of the games I played, Shattered Dimensions, it of course had a reference to Spider-Ham.
It's bizarre how that will stick around. And if people ask for, oh, well, you're going to include the entire universe of Spider-Man? Well, you got to include Spider-Ham.
I know, especially with like Madam Web and stuff. Like he's kind of like, with Batman comes Batmite. But I don't think they're going to be doing that anytime soon.
No.
At least
Batmite was a lot less popular.
But Batmite, I mean, he seemed nice at first. He was kind of adorable, annoying but adorable.
There really isn't much to say about Heathcliff. I mean, the cartoon was fairly popular when it came out. Of course, it had the movie. The comic strip still runs. I can't believe it's still running. What's weird is it seems like there's cartoon strips that go on, or comic strips that go on forever and ever and ever. Somewhere in this world, Beetle Bailey is still going.
Wait, which one is?
Beetle Bailey and Hagar the Horrible. I mean, all these cartoon or comic strips that you think had died off long ago because no one talks about them, they still somehow stay in print, like BC. But yeah, Calvin and Hobbes, Far Side, Boondocks, 3 groundbreaking series gone within just like a handful of years.
I know Boondocks is. I think didn't Boondocks get a new season?
You know what? I think it did. After a really long time, they got a new season. But I was thinking more of the strip itself because it's too controversial and no one would carry it.
I thought. I mean, it was pretty hilarious. I mean, that was the first time I do remember seeing it. Was in the newspaper strip, along with Hagar the Horrible. Hagar the Horrible's still around.
I'm looking at the movie here, and it's another one of those it was produced by Deke, but it was released by, was it Atlantic? Oh, Clubhouse Pictures. Atlantic Releasing had a small chunk of cash to throw around after they did Teen Wolf and Valley Girl, so they started making animated movies, and Clubhouse Pictures, I remember, they were like a small division. I think they only put them on like 400 screens at most. It made $2.5 million, so in comparison to how popular the cartoon was, comparison to the movie, yeah, you can see why that division shut down.
Okay, but as far how much did the movie cost?
I don't think these movies cost a lot at all, especially if they're made overseas. The movie probably costs like $2 or $3 million. If you talk like episodes back in the day, an episode of Heathcliff probably cost $300,000. Now just make that 4 episodes basically. So you got 1.2 million and probably a little bit extra just to make it look more like a movie. That's how the Transformers movie was. Transformer episodes I think cost like $500,000, $600,000, but the movie was I think $10 million. It was the most expensive like cartoon toy based movie.
Oh, and here we go. Like this scene right now, just Heathcliff pulled a Milli Vanilli.
Yeah, before Milli Vanilli was a thing.
Yep. I think someone pretty much sabotaged Milli Vanilli because they knew they were BS.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean if they're working backstage, you knew they knew. But I think they got their inspiration from this. And even after all that,
that'd be weird if someone said that. Oh, well, what were your inspirations? Oh, Heathcliff, of course, the first episode. What do you think?
So I thought you were just very a disgruntled worker, and they treated you like crap. I'm like, well, they treated everybody like crap, so I didn't get justice for me. I got justice for all of them. For all of them.
All right, so our next cartoon. Are you done with Heathcliff? I didn't have anything else to say.
Yeah, it's all done.
Cool. I love it when they're short, stuff like that. Sometimes there's an episode we have a lot to talk about. I really didn't have that much to talk about Heathcliff. It's kind of weird. Now, Garfield, I have a crap ton to talk about, and let's go ahead with the theme song and jump into the episode.
Garfield and friends.
Garfield?
Here we go. I'm just going to go with
Hey.
theme song.
I gotta find it. Why? Okay, every time as soon as I put in G, the first 30.
I apologize for that. I had a little bit of technical difficulties with the theme song. It was way too quiet, so I picked a better one. Here we go.
Garfield and friends.
We're ready to party.
We're ready.
I hope you bring lots of spaghetti.
Come on in, come to the place where fun never ends.
Fiesta. Siesta. La Bamba. Ay, caramba. Disguises. Surprises. And pies of all sizes. In a moment, I'll...
Okay, that is not the original theme song. That must have been like halfway through the run. I don't recognize that theme song at all.
I do now. I mean, now watching it, it does come back to me where he did have this little clash with all the other barn animals, like over the title sequence.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is Garfield and Friends. A lot of people have forgotten about the other cartoon strip. It was called U.S. Acres, and for a couple years, it was insanely popular. In fact, it was more popular than Garfield, I believe. And I don't know what happened, but it just turned, and the popularity started to dip. It didn't bomb, but I think Jim Davis decided to just solely focus on Garfield, keep that franchise going because it sold more merch. But I really, really loved U.S. Acres. It was so enjoyable, and I had the books, and I read it every week, and then all of a sudden, after 4 or 5 years, it was just done. I don't understand why he did that. And in fact, now that I think about it, the minute he stopped doing U.S. Acres to focus more on Garfield is when Garfield stopped being great and started kind of mediocre. Now, 35 years after its original start, it is now so tedious and dull. I don't even think he's involved anymore. I think he probably just hired out someone to do it.
Oh yeah, I mean honestly, because looking back on it and just watching it right now, yeah, Garfield's just it's almost like watching Napoleon Dynamite.
How do you mean?
It's just so dull and somewhat lifeless and boring.
Yeah, Garfield, I look at the animation. I started off at the very beginning with the books. I got the very first book, I think, when I was 5 or 6. So the cartoon the strip had been around for a while. And the animation, or I can't talk today at all. The artwork is pretty mediocre. It's borderline high school style. It's not very good. And slowly you see over the years, and I collected all the books I think up until 25, 26, and you can see the style, it changes a lot over the years, and to the point where around 86, 87, it was at its pinnacle, I think. And all of a sudden, 10 years ago, it just got crazy. The animation style was so over the top and erratic, I'm almost certain he hired somebody else to do it.
I love to say, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure anybody with a phobia for clowns is not happy right now.
Oh, no. Have you started the episode already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good God,
My
man.
bad. My bad.
Go back to the beginning. Okay, so this is the original theme song. I want to play it while we watch the episode. Go ahead. Go back to the beginning. Go. You can find this up on... You can find this whole series, I think, on Netflix, and the whole thing's up on YouTube as well. All right, first episode is called Peace and Quiet. And playing now. Yeah, here we go.
Get your feet on the ground for a brand new day.
They'll pick you up when you're down.
Help you swallow your pride when something inside's got to break.
I was going to say, was the voice actor who played Garfield actually singing this?
Friends are someone you can...
At least when the Garfield parts came on.
You're ready to flip.
When you've got the world on your shoulders.
Friends are there to give you a tip.
Friends are there when you need them.
That could be Bill Murray, too, for all we know.
It's not.
No, sadly not. He didn't get involved until the actual movie with Breckenmeyer and
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah, that's who it was. And Odie was an actual dog. It wasn't even animated.
Oh, yeah, that was weird. I don't know how I feel about that. That was a strange choice. Okay, so yeah, that was the original theme song to Garfield. So you can tell it's a lot different. They went kind of bonkers with the new version. I actually kind of like the newer version of the theme song. All right, so Heathcliff premiered way before Garfield. I didn't realize that. Everybody acts like Garfield was the original and Heathcliff was a ripoff, but no, it had 6 years on it. 5 years on it. Wow.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, no, he pretty much is the opposite of Heathcliff. He's just a lazy fat house cat.
Yeah.
He likes to eat lasagna, and is a sociopath and tries to kill Odie.
Did you know that Garfield is it has the Guinness World Record for being the most widely syndicated comic strip ever?
No, but knowing that now, wow.
And the comic strip is actually set in Muncie, Indiana. Here's the funny thing is, Jim Davis, his headquarters is actually in Fairmount, Indiana. I used to live not too far away from it, and we went to Fairmount to see his museum, and it was awesome. But then we discovered that's also the location of the James Dean Museum. Because I guess as a child, he grew up in Fairmount. And on top of all of that, it is Nerd Central. At least it was then. You go into downtown, and there's 6 malls. And they're technically antique malls, but they're collectible malls of comic books, toys, video games, all this kind of stuff. Before eBay ever existed, you would go there and you would find, oh my god, I haven't seen that toy in forever. That's where I got my Savage Dragon toys. And oh my god, all those G.I. Joes and that poster from Star Wars before they were easy to find. It was ground zero for nerd heaven, and I don't think it's that way anymore.
Oh, especially now with what Indiana's been doing, their right to discriminate.
Yeah. Well, this is a cartoon show. We'll talk about this some other time. We're not doing another cartoon show. Garfield, it spawned over $1 billion in merchandising. In comparison, I think Heathcliff may have got like $40 in merchandising.
Just 40?
I'm kidding. It's just you never see Heathcliff merchandise. You see Garfield stuff everywhere.
Yeah, you're right. I never did see anything for Heathcliff. That was weird. It was quite bizarre. I mean, I think maybe one time there might have been like little action figurines. I don't know, or maybe even a chew toy. But that's it.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember. I'm a childhood memories. They're all so repressed.
Yeah. Besides the Garfield and Friends, there was a ton of those animated specials. There was a Halloween one where he fights off the ghost pirates, which, in fact, I watch every year, and it's still kind of unnerving. It's a scary cartoon for kids. They did the Hawaii one. I had all the specials, too. I had the books. He did one where they went to Hawaii, and they had to sacrifice a virgin, which is weird. There's a Thanksgiving, Christmas. I want to say there was a bunch of specials at the time. And, of course, then they went into the series. I think they did the same thing with Peanuts at the same time. I think around 84, 85, they started doing the Peanuts TV series.
Listen to Garfield making that freaking joke. As people who seem like dead should be dragged out into the street and shot. I think he's actually kidding humor. Like, gosh, he's encouraging.
Yeah, he had kind of demented sense of humor. He was very abusive.
Indeed. I mean, come on, look what he's trying to do to Odie. But still, I mean, look at this clown. Like, this guy's got the wrong address. There's no one named Edna there. And he straight up breaks in. He could be arrested for that crap. Come on. Oh, gosh, that's so evil. Yeah, I think, looking back on it, Garfield did have kind of somewhat clean adult humor.
It's just sad that's kind of died out. Just reading the comic strip now, it just seems like you just do it because it's a muscle reflex. Like, I guess I'm supposed to read Garfield now. It's just not funny anymore. Or maybe I just grew out of that, I don't know. Yeah, the 2 movies. I have complete and absolute amnesia to the movies. And Bill Murray's kind of ashamed of them. He said that he signed on because he thought the Coen brothers were writing it, but it was actually Etten Coen or something like that. Who was actually a decent writer on his own, but the movies just aren't very good.
I remember watching the first one, and I'm like, okay, is this supposed to be funny? I thought, it had Bill Murray. There was some hope. And Jennifer Love Hewitt, but no, that wasn't enough. And honestly, I always thought Dave always wore glasses.
Who?
Oh, God, what's Garfield's owner's name? John?
Yes.
Yeah, John. Okay, I always thought John wore glasses. I don't know where Dave came from. I was thinking it was probably
Dave's not here, man. I can't remember for the life of me who it was, but in the very beginning, there was John had a best friend, and he had like this sleazy little mustache that basically looked like a John Waters mustache. And he always used to hang out. I think what I say is the Bijou and the Regal Beagle. Oh wait, the Regal Beagle. I think it's from Three's Company, but he was that kind of guy, and he was always kind of a little slimy, a little sleazy, and they got rid of him pretty fast. But I always thought he was completely hilarious. But I guess as they turned into more family fare, they ditched his character. And there was Nermal, the cutest cat in the world, which Garfield hated his guts. And who doesn't love the stupidity of Odie? Odie's stupidity somehow transcends reality, and somehow he is able to do things that are not feasible. I don't even know how it's even possible. Like, he gets the absolute snot beat out of him and just bounces right back.
Yeah, it's almost like Baby Huey. But Baby Huey's a giant, baby duck that's practically indestructible.
I don't really remember Baby Huey, so I'm a little lost in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Liz. That's the character that Jennifer Love Hewitt plays, right? Liz? He's always
Yeah.
trying to go out with her, and he always seems to like ruin it for himself.
Yeah, until at the end they finally get married, and then in the second movie you got Tim Curry playing an identical cat that looks like Garfield.
That's right. It was a British cat, right? And he ends
Yeah.
up going over on a vacation, which is a stupid movie.
Yeah, I know. Overall, it was just bad. And why did that? Oh God, why would that clown come back? And anyone who's scared of clowns, I'm sorry.
Oh, and I totally
I
forgot
wouldn't
about
recommend it.
Pookie. Do you remember Pookie, the little teddy bear that Garfield only had one thing he ever cared about, and that was that little
Lifeless,
teddy bear.
materialist little.
Yeah, I can't find anywhere the guy that was in the strip with him in the beginning. Dang it! If anybody knows, let me know because I want to know that character. He was a lot of fun. Dang. Lorenzo Music is the voice actor for the series, except for when he passed away. Frank Welker. Again, Frank Welker's everywhere. Frank Welker took over the voice of Garfield. But yeah, for years I listened to this and I was so certain that it was Bill Murray. And which is funny because then he later got hired for the Ghostbusters cartoon to do his voice. Oh my God, I forgot he did Larry the Crash Test Dummy. You might be too young to remember this, but there used to be a ton of commercials for the Crash Test Dummies to teach you to
I do
buckle
remember
up.
Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah, and
I
Lorenzo
do
Music
remember it
did the
fondly.
voice of those. Wow, I didn't even remember that.
Holy crap!
And there was even a cartoon series, I think, for like 13 episodes where they did the Crash Test Dummies because they were like a phenomenon. Back in the day, you could turn a commercial character into this huge thing. Like, do you remember the Noid, Domino's the Noid? He was like a little red-haired guy with Boinky, bing, 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 and he always tried to
do
ruin your
remember.
pizza. And there was the Little Caesars guy, he was really popular. There was the 7-Up Spot. The 7-Up Spot was so popular that it got his own video game. That seems crazy.
Oh yeah, no, the little red checker guy.
Yeah.
He looks like a checker piece to me. Oh my gosh, that's really ridiculous. I can't. Yeah. Oh God. I'm thinking back. I think I rented that game one time.
It's actually a pretty good game. All right, so 12 Garfield television specials were produced. Garfield and Friends, I think, ran for 7 years. And I was reading about this. Is the Garfield and Friends series only ended because of budgetary reasons. CBS itself wanted to cut back on how much it was spending on cartoons. It had nothing to do with the popular Garfield. If CBS had ponied up the cash, Garfield probably could have continued for another 3 or 4 years easily.
That's too much.
Yeah, lame. What? Oh, 10 years of Garfield? It's too much?
Yeah, no, I'm like, that's too much Garfield
Yeah.
for me.
But, cartoons could last forever and a day if they wanted to, but for some reason they just canceled it. I think the longest running cartoon is probably Scooby-Doo.
Oh God, yeah, that cartoon's never gone away.
Yeah, most of the cartoons we talk about, though, they only lasted a season or 2 at best. But yeah, this is probably the longest running cartoon I think we've ever discussed. Crazy.
Yeah. You know what's strangely still going on?
What?
Power Rangers and Pokemon. Those things are never going away.
They're never ending. Power Rangers, and now that they've had that new boost of popularity, I guess there's a new movie coming, and there's the whole thing with the underground film that was banned for a while. And
Oh yeah, the one by Adi Shankar.
Yeah, what was the other one you just said?
The one by Adi Shankar?
No, the other cartoon you said it goes on forever.
Pokemon.
Pokemon's still going, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't
Strangely
no
enough.
idea.
I know. But here's the thing. Power Rangers, I mean, yes, there was that boot that, Lionsgate was going to do a movie about it. And then there's some concept ideas, and Adi Shankar came up with this, trippy idea. I watched that video, and I wasn't too impressed. I was just, because, honestly, I can't take Power Rangers seriously.
No.
At all.
It's
No matter what you
nonsense.
do with it. I'm still just going to sit there and laugh and go, oh my gosh, they're still using those same names. They're still Rangers. Bulk and Skull. Oh, no. No.
All right,
Adi
so,
Shankar, I love what you did with Dread, but come on.
so Garfield and Heathcliff. Garfield's still going as an animated series here and there. They do specials. Do you think there's any chance that Heathcliff will ever come back, or is it of the moment kind of cartoon?
I think, well, depending on what you can do with Heathcliff, if you wanted to make it a little bit more for a more mature audience, then I think it could come back.
Yeah, if you made it more risque and added it to Adult Swim, yeah, it would take off.
Almost everything on Adult Swim still, just takes off.
Yeah, it's weird, and I don't even watch Adult Swim anymore because they kind of just, I don't know, the cartoons don't interest me anymore, especially since half the stuff they air isn't even a cartoon anymore. What the hell is that about? Throw that stuff on Comedy Central. I don't want to see, Children's Hospital is not a cartoon. I don't understand.
Yeah, that was pretty weird. I mean, it is pretty funny, but I'm a little bit. I was like, wait, where's the cartoons? Where's Metalocalypse? I miss Metalocalypse.
Yeah, I think all they have left that's worth anything to me is Venture Brothers.
Oh yeah, that one's. Oh gosh.
All right.
Brock Sampson. That's it. Yeah.
All right. So before we wander off too far away from our point, thank you everybody for supporting us. Our episodes are getting more and more popular. I can't believe the downloads we're getting on some of our stuff. That Hawk Savage Dragon episode is blowing people off the charts, and that sentence made no sense, but whatever. I'm very appreciative of this.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, considering, think about it. Hulk is gaining popularity because Avengers, and people will want to see a standalone Hulk film. I mean, Captain America is getting his own movies. Civil War is going to be coming out next year, and also people are wondering like, when's Hulk going to get another movie? Like, what are they going to go with? Is Abomination going to be back? What's going on?
Move on from that. All right, so they got to have a better villain. So here's the schedule we have kind of in mind. We had actually a confusion. You thought we were going to do this in episode next week. We were doing Speed Racer. We never found a good companion for Speed Racer. But next week, just in time for Fast and Furious, we're going to pick 2 car cartoons. We're going to do Speed Racer and Pole Position. And after that, I was thinking we're doing DuckTales and Chippendale.
Oh, that was perfect. We should definitely do that.
And that should be just in time for the new Avengers movie to be released. And we will do the Iron Man cartoon from 96, as well as a Fantastic Four cartoon from the 80s. I want you to see the 80s version because they got rid of Human Torch and they threw in Herbie the Robot because they thought kids were going to set themselves on fire.
Oh, my God.
You have to
Isn't
see
that the
it.
same excuse they used for, taking out Human by adding in Firestar instead of Human Torch? They took...
No,
that was the same excuse, lighting themselves on fire?
No, I'm sure Firestar... Well, I mean, she wasn't literally on fire. She, shot out heat rays, microwave rays.
Yeah.
Which seems more dangerous. Microwave rays just being shot at people? Ooh.
They could melt. You should be melting.
Why does everybody on our team have cancer? I don't know. Is it because of the microwave radiation coming off this lady right here? All right. So I think that's it for us. Thank you, everyone. I'm Michael signing off.
I'm Jacob signing off. Namaste and good luck. Be sure to tip your waitress.
And be excellent to each other.
Here comes Speed Racer. He's a demon on wheels. He's a demon and he's gonna be chasing after someone. He's gaining on you, so you better look alive. He's busy revving up the powerful Mach 5. And when the odds are against him and there's dangerous work to do, bet your life, Speed Racer, to see it through. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go! He's up and flying as he guns a car around the track. He's jamming down the pedal like he's never coming back. Adventure's waiting just ahead. Go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go Speed Racer, go!
Welcome everybody to Back in Toons. Obviously right there we have our setup. We're going to be watching Speed Racer. Our second cartoon is going to be Pole Position. I'm your host Michael and my co-host
Jacob here. Watch me do this donut.
That is a really fun tune. That is one of the best theme songs I think we've ever had on here.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh my gosh, it brings back so many memories. I remember staying up late at night just to watch this cartoon. My parents would let me because, sympathy. Because they did the same thing when they were younger. They watched this cartoon a lot.
I'm surprised it was on so late. Cartoons, when I was a kid, man, you wouldn't be able to find a cartoon that late. It was like, at best, you find it on Cartoon Network when I was in my 20s.
Oh, well, hey, I was a little kid at the time, man.
Yeah.
What can you expect?
Well, if you had the Cartoon Network. See, I never had the Cartoon Network until 2001.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Well, it's okay. I understand.
I lived in a small
But
town.
anyway.
We didn't carry Cartoon Network until then.
That's right. Oh my gosh, the elder days of television.
Well,
Before
also
digital
the Midwest. The Midwest, man, it was really a stranglehold. We had 36 stations. 36, dude. And the day that it went to
My
45,
God.
we're like, oh my, 45 channels. And that's when we finally got the Cartoon Network. And they're like, wee! And now
Yep,
it's like,
I know.
how many channels are there now? How many channels?
Lots.
1,000,
Lots
probably.
and lots.
Now we have streaming. All right, right, so we're talking about Speed Racer first. So the very first episode is available on YouTube. It is called The Great Plan. It is part 1. We're only going to do part 1, or we're going to be here for hours. So if you want to get the episode ready, we're going to talk about it while it plays.
All
Ready,
right.
set, go.
All right. Wonderful intro. Okay, we get to see the Mach 5 and Speed just jump right into it. Now, that whole scarf around his neck, but did all racers used to have that kind of thing? Was that the style?
You know what? I have seen that in some other stuff where they're wearing an ascot? Is that what that is? A dickie is where it's like goes down under the shirt, right? An ascot's just like the scarf. Actually, now that I think about it, it seems like it was in a few cartoons. Didn't Fred from Scooby-Doo wear one of those?
He did. That was one of his most redeeming qualities, always having that friggin' scarf. Just because he was a leader. He was the leader of the gang, and he had to show his dominance with the power of a scarf.
Power scarf. That's something you'll never hear.
Okay, so these races that, just from this intro, you just see Speed Racer knock a guy off, and then the car explodes. So I'm like, these people die in these races? Is that even legal? Is this underworld stuff right here? And there's that classic pose right in front of the Mach 5. You can tell this is animated. This is overseas animation.
Oh yeah. Well, it was one of the first cartoons to use the speed lines too, which is kind of common now. But in order to actually get speed with limited animation, that's something they designed. And I was like, that's a clever idea. Even back in the day when I was a little kid, I was like, I've never seen anything like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, you can definitely tell. It's like kind of still. It's like the same. It's like pretty much the same photo being shot over and over and over again, especially on the raceways.
Yeah. And we had to save money. Animation, even if it was an American company, was extremely limited in what they could do for the money. I mean, what is it? Johnny Quest was huge budget back in the day, but if you look at it now, it's like, oh, wow, they had no money to do this properly.
No, that was just early stages of animation. Let's not discriminate here or second guess like that. Come on, kids.
So the funny thing is the title is actually called Mach Go Go Go. And I actually kind of like that name a little bit better than Speed Racer, which sounds like sacrilege.
Mach Go Go Go. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure like in the Japanese voice casting, they shouted that numerous times. Pretty much almost every time, pretty much every animated Japanese animated cartoon I watch, when I hear it in the Japanese audio track, they definitely are a little bit more enthusiastic than they should be.
Yes.
Like, go, Speed Racer, go! Like, that's what you hear in the American track. Oh, Speed Racer, go! No offense, but, I mean, that's just my interpretation from what I've heard so far.
Well, it's higher energy, I would say. We're kind of subtle with some of our stuff. Like, you notice the comedy is different over there as well. It's a little bigger. Like, what was the movie? Mr. Magoo, the movie with Leslie Nielsen. It was directed by Stanley Tong, who had done Rumble in the Bronx. And his approach to comedy is very over the top, hyper realism, exaggerated movements, and it's something that works over there. But when it came over here, we're just like, what is going on? There's not even a single subtle moment in this whatsoever.
That just seems so ridiculous. I mean, it is like watching those Japanese game shows too. Oh my gosh, those are really outlandish and out there. I was like, if you think people go crazy on The Price is Right, wait till you watch that.
What is the show where it's like, it was on, I want to say TBS or something, where they took out all the audio and they had these improv actors come in and do the most extreme elimination challenge.
I thought it was Whose Line Is It Anyway?
No, it's a most extreme elimination challenge. It was a Japanese game, and they took out all the audio and they had all these comedians come in and overdub it. It's the most. Have you never seen this?
I have watched this. I'm thinking back now. Yeah, they say some of the most ridiculous stuff. Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure the hosts were, like, dressed up in, like, these big, outlandish, like, samurai garb.
Yeah, but that's what makes it so enjoyable. I mean, I remember the first time I saw, what's the cooking show where it's really disgusting? It's like they have one thing, and then everybody gets together, and they have to make all the stuff with it, and they have a panel of people to talk about it. What the hell's that show? Iron Chef. Iron Chef, the original version of Iron Chef, it was like a 50-50 shot on whether the food was going to be like, oh, okay, pork. And the next one, eagle's eyes. You're like, what? They actually got enough eagle eyes? That's disgusting. But I have to keep watching this. What are they going to do with that?
Exactly. Or like what they do with bamboo. I mean, Morimoto was in it one time, and that was the main ingredient.
Wow.
But I will say this one about Speed Racer, they're definitely capturing the enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it's hard to do that with a cartoon. A lot of the stuff's really stilted. Oh, by the way, we just did an episode of Trash Cinema where we discussed the Speed Racer movie. Now, did you see the movie?
Oh, I did. I saw it in theaters.
What did you think?
Like I said, for what it was, I thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was fun. It did kind of like capture some of the classic Speed Racer moments.
Yeah.
But when they tried to like, I think there was that one scene with Racer X, played by Matthew Fox, Jack from Lost. He the way he was trying to characterize or humanize racing, it's like, we do not change racing. The problem is if we let racing change us.
Which is a terrible line. It's so campy.
It was just some campy. I guess they were trying to put too much of that like little Matrix twist of philosophies into that movie.
The funny thing is, the first time I saw it, I actually couldn't finish it. It was extremely painful for me. And if I had seen it in the theater, I'm pretty sure I'd be throwing up because the action is almost... I couldn't tell what was going on. It's just a bunch of globs ramming at each other. Just a candy-coated nightmare of a movie. But I love the scenes with the family. The family's so much fun. I would literally watch a whole movie with that monkey and that little kid just goofing around.
Bridle and Chim Chim.
Yeah. Thank
oh
you.
My God, those kids. Those were some of the most entertaining, especially when they get that candy sugar rush and they're just driving in that little go-kart throughout the factory. That was classic. I was like, okay, now that's one of the most enjoyable scenes I've seen in this movie. Honestly, I liked the racing part too. I was like, whoa, that's definitely something I'd see in the cartoon.
Yeah, it was pretty close. It's just the way they filmed it. I couldn't tell what was going on. It's like the way Michael Bay he directs his fight sequences. It's just a bunch of random things bashing into each other. I'm like, wait, what's that? I can't tell who is who. But the movie isn't anywhere nearly as bad as his ham-handed kind of nonsense. But, the Wachowski brothers, they made a campy movie on purpose because it is based on a cartoon. And I just don't think people were ready for that. And on second viewing, I enjoyed it more. I'll probably watch it again a few years down the road. And in my opinion, it might even change more for the better.
Me too. I mean, plus visually, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, you're looking at it, it is very much like cartoony, and, the way it was like shaded was like looking at a graphic novel too.
Yeah. It has a lot of pop, man. The movie, but the action sequences, I'm going to have to sit farther back and maybe not pay attention because I was like, oh, give me a Dramamine now.
Yeah. And then, oh gosh, I also like Christina Ricci as Trixie. I thought she was perfect. Plus, it's Christina Ricci. Absolutely love her. Loved her since she was Wednesday.
John Goodman was the one I went with. He was like pitch perfect for that character.
Playing Pops. Pops, being kind of stubborn and like anti-corporate, and he was right to do so because look what they were trying to do.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think they had in the cartoon was there wasn't really much social political stuff going on with it, whereas they added that to the movie and gave it a lot of depth, and it was perfect timing because that was right as all the corporations really started getting overblown and corrupt and going bankrupt because of overspending and just they're still doing it today. I mean, you look at some of the companies, we're trying to get political on the show, but you look at a lot of companies and they're just like, how is this legal? How is this legal?
Exactly. It's like they're more profitable than ever, and they're still asking for bailouts. And they're giving them, J.P. Morgan and Chase, I think a couple of years ago gave themselves $91 billion in bonuses.
That's ridiculous, and we're footing the bill. But, let's try not to go too far on that. But definitely it's something food to chew on when you watch the movies because they really kind of like, hey, let's not ignore this.
Yeah.
So here's the weird thing is I thought the show was on forever, but it was only on for 1 year. 52 episodes from 67 to 68. That's crazy. I thought it was on for a long time. And there's a manga. How you say it? Manga? I always say this wrong. Manga, right?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second, Michael.
Okay. Yeah, so Speed Racer, the movie is fine. The cartoon is something, we've had this discussion in other cartoons. If it was anime, it was very hard for me to find because this stuff did not get carried in Indiana. I think there was 4 Asians in all of Indiana at the time. That's how bad it was. So there's like, they don't have any interest in it. Not realizing that there's a huge market with everybody. I mean, everybody loves anime now, but back then it's kind of alien. I mean, we didn't get Voltron, we didn't get Speed Racer, no Astro Boy, Digimon. I mean, the first thing I think we ever got was Pokemon because it was such an insane franchise. What's the other robot one? Robotech. We never got that. Gundam. Nothing.
Oh my gosh.
None of these. So I have never seen Robotech.
Dang, man. Oh my gosh, you definitely are missing out. It is a classic. Especially, it's not just like about giant robots, but also about alien invasions and uniting the entire Earth. I mean, that's how it starts off at first, and then it really just branches on. But knowing that Sony Pictures acquired the rights to do a Robotech movie, I'm hoping they'll do a great job.
Yeah, and it's embarrassing that we didn't get these cartoons, and yet for some reason I got to see Chuck Norris and the Karate Commandos, a classic.
Oh my God, yes. But yeah, I'm hoping. I mean, let's see. I mean, as far as the other anime-based action movies go, I know they're going to be doing Ghost in the Shell with Scarlett Johansson, which I'm not really looking forward to because I don't really care much for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've watched it a couple times. Hey, I gave it some credit, but just won't do anything for me.
I love the car. I have to say this: the pilot. What is it called? The Pilot Ace. The design of this car is so amazing for something in a cartoon to look even cooler than most of the stuff that they even did in a movie.
Oh yeah, definitely. However, I will say this: like what they did in the movies with the Speed Racer movie, what they did, like the look of the car too, and just like getting it really detailed, and with all the inventions and little gadgets inside the Mach 5.
Yeah, those are crazy.
I was really impressed, and I thought some of the races were really intense and really adrenaline fueled.
Well, I'll say this: the logistics of some of the stuff that he does with the car, I'm not so sure it fits, but whatever. Yeah, it's a cartoon.
Like bouncing off of other cars and stuff. I'm like, well, but still, I mean, they were adding the Wachowskis were adding like a cartoon element to it because Speed Racer was based off the cartoon.
Right.
But I don't remember. Okay, right now, as we witness Spreadle crying, I don't remember him crying at all like that in the movie.
No, that kid was cool in the movie. He had kind of like a little spark to him, a little bit of a rebellious nature to him, which I enjoyed to no end.
Oh yeah. Plus, he had a pet monkey. That was awesome.
Oh, that monkey's awesome. Seriously, I would watch a whole series with just him and the monkey.
Oh, I know. Just like going on like they're detectives or something.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
That or just a whole series where you just give them tons of candy and they freak out. I'd watch 20 minutes of them freaking out.
I know, like I think back then. Oh gosh, I think probably at least until like Macaulay Culkin. I'm pretty sure kids just got paid in candy.
Did you ever read the comic book? You might have been too young for that. But there was a series from Now Comics. Now Comics was kind of like Dark Horse, where they licensed a bunch of stuff. They had a few original stuff like Ralph Snart, but they would license out known comic books or known characters, whatever, and then develop a series around them. Like they had the Real Ghostbusters and Fright Night, and they had Speed Racer. And I remember Speed Racer being very popular, being probably one of their best known series, but sadly Now Comics, they never really had much success, and they just kind of collapsed.
True. Sad but true.
A lot of independent comic book companies, they think they can spend tons of money on licensing, and it never follows through, and then all of a sudden they got nothing else. Like, crap, we're broke.
Right.
I honestly keep expecting Dark Horse to go under because they spent so much money on licensing, and now the whole Star Wars Indiana Jones thing is gone. Really?
I thought they were doing really successful with Knights of the Old Republic. Heck, they made games based off those stories.
What game?
Well, at least in the Knights of the Old Republic, they actually based like a little story arc around the time those stories happened.
Yeah, but they made money then, but that was a long time ago, and they've done a lot of... There's a period where they had too many series, and they were all bombing, and they just lost a lot of money. And then when Disney acquired Marvel, they said, well, why would we sell the rights to another company? So once it expired with Dark Horse, they just took it back. Now Star Wars and Indiana Jones are now being produced by Marvel Comics.
Oh, well, yeah, it makes sense now that, Disney owns both of them, and they're going to... I mean, in creative hands, I think that's a good idea. I mean, with what Marvel's doing. Although as far as, Marvel discontinuing Deadpool and Fantastic Four until they get the movie rights back, I think that's kind of a...
Yeah, that's a really stupid idea. It burns the fans. I don't know what they're thinking.
I know.
And I don't know how can they get the rights back for Deadpool. I mean, they'd have to get all the X-Men. I don't know what's going on, but Marvel seems like they're making some extremely stupid decisions, at least from a fan standpoint.
Oh yeah, definitely. I will say that speaking of Deadpool, they are doing principal photography, and by far, I think it's just perfect. Considering the revealing Deadpool's costume, how he's laid out on the fur, with the fireplace in the background. That's totally Deadpool.
All right, so back to Speed Racer. The Now Comics series lasted for quite some time. They gave spin-offs. Racer X is an awesome character, especially visually. I love the look of him. Yeah, and they gave him a bunch of spin-offs, and they tried 3D comics. It just never really took off. But then when the license lapsed and Now Comics shut down, Wildstorm, which is I think Wildstorm was Jim Lee's company. They did Speed Racer for a while, and they got bought out by DC Comics, so I don't know who owns the rights to Speed Racer right now, which is kind of a bummer.
Right now, that little technique that Pops used to like put that ink onto the windshield,
Yeah.
it's very risky, but yet so far away from harm because nobody would have suspected that. Huh? Maybe next time when I break into a auto parts store and try to find their plans for a new engine, I just know where to look now. Ha. Then again, I'm not an evil genius, nor would I ever want to break into a place. Can you imagine the fear? God, I'd be scared out of my mind. Just also, it's like, I break into a place, all of a sudden, like, the person turns on the lights, I'm like, oh my God, you scared me, and then I just walk out. And the person would be paralyzed, and the other, the tenant of whose house I was breaking into would be, like, terrified beyond relief and be like, what just happened? Jeez.
I didn't know that there was another series in 1993 where it was, they took the anime style out and they made it just a generic American cartoon.
Yes, I know they did relaunch and reboot the Speed Racer cartoon, I think around late 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I even had the action figure of Speed Racer and all that. I just never had Mach 5.
Oh, you know what? I know this company. This is the same company that did the James Bond Jr. cartoon that we discussed last month.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're like, they look like they're an anime company but they're not. They're like a Irish company. So I don't know what an Irish company is doing Speed Racer for. That seems kind of sacrilege. Just like when Americans do Godzilla movies without any input from the original company.
Yeah, it is. Well, I do want to say this about Racer X. When you were mentioning his little spin-offs, I'm like, yeah, that guy could totally have spin-offs. I mean, he was my favorite character, honestly. I mean, he was secret agent. He was total action man.
Well, yeah, if you look at the character, he's very anti-hero, and who doesn't love an anti-hero?
Heck, I mean, he even had the like X across his face on his mask. That's how like Cyclops looks modernly in Marvel now.
You know what's weird is you mentioned something about Deadpool earlier, and I remember for a while there that Deadpool was gone. He melted down to some blob of goo, and all of a sudden out of nowhere there comes a character called Agent X, who everybody thought was Deadpool but wasn't. But he had almost the same exact look as Racer X. That's kind of weird and litigious.
Very peculiar. What are they up to now? But, as far as it goes for, like, reading the actual comics, I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really read too much of Marvel. I mean, like, I'm more of a DC fan, but considering, like, what they're doing so far in the cinematic universe, I think they're doing a great job, except for Ghost Rider.
Well, yeah, that's always a sticking point with people. I think I'm a DC person, too. I love the rich history of it, but I'll grab a good Marvel comic here and there. But what irritated me is that we're stuck in the superhero world. Why is it that we can't make more independent comics successful? I mean, it seems like once a year something comes out that's decent, and the biggest success has been Walking Dead. But why is it like, why can't Speed Racer be relaunched? Now, I remember when the Speed Racer series came out from Wildstorm, they said it was going to be like the biggest thing, and it didn't take off at all. Maybe these kind of comic books, if they're not in a costume, for some reason people just don't find it appealing, and I have no idea why.
Oh, honestly, for me, I thought Question was very appealing as far as DC characters go. I mean, like I said, he just had a simple trench coat. All he did was just cover his face. He was pretty much like No Face from Dick Tracy.
Yeah, the Question is a really good character. Dennis O'Neil did a fantastic job on him, but is he even around right now? Is anybody using that character? Because I feel like he's kind of off in limbo.
Well, I know as far as like the Question goes, I mean, it's brought back as a girl, and it's Renee Montoya from the Batman.
Right. I totally forgot about that. The original guy died, and I hate it when they do that. Just kill guys off. Oh, time to move on.
Yeah, it is. It's sadly.
Yeah, but there will always be one Speed Racer. You think they'll ever move Speed Racer on, and then it'll be the little boy? It'll be Spritle?
Maybe.
He'll
perhaps,
take over.
Who knows? And Chim Chim will be like his co-pilot.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like, who knows? Chim Chim could probably throw like little gadgets, really throw him off.
And then maybe Speed Racer would become Racer X, and then Racer X would become like the head of the spy unit, like the way Nick Fury is.
Yeah, like Inspector Detector.
Jeez, some of these explosions are pretty horrifying for a kid to watch, man. These people are getting... I don't see them leaving. I don't see them escaping. I'm seeing them blow up. Okay, that person is dead. This is a cartoon. There's dead people left and right. This is insane.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, they can't even draw a guy with like a little parachute. Yes, exactly. Look, it's like he doesn't eject. There's no ejector seats.
No, this is not G.I. Joe where everybody saw them like, oh, they're safe. These people are not safe. This is horrifying for a cartoon.
It is. My gosh, it's like racing in this world. It's like, yeah, it's like the normal thing to do. It's pretty much like Death Race.
Yeah,
it's practically Death Race minus being in prison.
Yeah, or well, the first one's not in prison. You've seen the original with David Carradine?
Oh yes, that's right, the original one.
Yeah, lots of satire, lots of outrageous, goofy behavior. Yeah, they're just in it for the money, man. They're not criminals.
I know, it's like so bizarre, and we applaud. Kids will watch and applaud this. Like they're hoping. They just want him to actually ram a guy off the side of the street. They want him to kill. It's kind of sickening.
I like the snidely whiplash mustache of the villain. Yes.
Yes, of course. From Wacky Races. Like an old cartoon?
Yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
Well, actually, I think Snidely Whiplash is from Dudley Do-Right, but there's a lot of villains that had those little 1920s vaudeville kind of mustaches.
Exactly. I was just about to mention that. Next time I talk to my friend who has those kind of mustaches, I'm like, okay, which villain are you right now?
Get him a monocle for Christmas.
Pretty much, yeah. And he does. And one of my friends who has that kind of mustache, he is a little overweight. So I'm like, oh my gosh, here, take this umbrella and this top hat too. Oh my God, you're perfect.
All right, so that's it for Speed Racer. We're going to take a brief break, and then we're going to hit up pole position.
From now on, like your parents were, you are the secret force of pole position.
They're moving real fast, they're the only ones who can get there on time. Okay, sis. And never too far behind, they're always fighting crime. Stop time, Dan. Ready when you are, Rhodey. In the danger zone. Pretty soon they'll be off on a mission. Hydrofoil mode, Rhodey. Hydrofoil engaged, Dan. What's behind wheel? Hovercraft, quick. What's behind this control? Only there are blows. Sit back and watch them go.
All right, so that's pole position. The first episode is up on YouTube, incomplete. It's called The Code. If you want to find the proper user, Samtron313 is the right uploader. The other one's kind of cut up in chunks. So whenever you're ready, just go ahead and hit play. You ready?
All right.
Ready?
Yes. Speaking of, yeah, I'm good. Ready, set, go.
Go. What were you
Okay,
saying?
now we're synced. Okay, I have to say, is Kenny Loggins singing this intro theme
It
song?
sounds like a Kenny Loggins ripoff, that's for sure.
Definitely. And I don't remember pole position ever, like the cars actually morphing into something else. I just remember it being a very tough and difficult racing game.
You know what? There's no plot to pole position as far as I know, so I don't know where they came up with that.
Well, it's a cartoon. They thought, hey, kids will like it. Oh, look. Is that cat talking? Wait, this animation looks familiar. Who did the animation for this cartoon?
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, it does look awfully familiar. I want to say... Uh-oh. Oh, something suspicious is going on when people nod at each other at a stadium. Uh-oh.
It's Deke. They did Inspector Gadget, and actually, it's probably the most well-known. We discussed some of their stuff from here and there, but they didn't have, if you were to line up all the successful animation companies of the 80s, they're probably about fifth. They had some decent stuff, but nothing really groundbreaking.
For me, it was the most memorable because I would see that almost all the time after every cartoon I ever watched growing up. But, okay. Oh, speaking of Tron, yeah, Olivia Wilde's going to be in, she's confirmed to play Korra again.
Yes, I'm very, very happy.
I will say, I wonder if they're going to bring in any of the characters from the cartoon show, the one that had Elijah Wood in it.
Oh, you know what? I totally forgot there's even a series.
Oh yeah, it was a great series too. I mean, I thought it was great. It looked fantastic. And talking about what was happening in between, the 20-year gap between, the events of Tron Legacy from when Flynn was stuck, Flynn was stuck in the grid, and leading up to Sam coming in.
So I just want to say,
go ahead. Plus, as far as like design goes, I mean, Joseph Kaczynski's not going to do like the same thing. He's going to take it much further.
Yeah, he's not going to repeat himself. Well, I think it's going to take place in our world. The Tron world's going to leak over to our world.
Oh yeah, that is. I mean, considering Sam, Sam getting out with Cora, but then again, like pretty much that whole way station, after blowing up that entire station and then the portal closing.
Yeah.
Maybe Flynn's explosion might have left a hole open.
Who knows?
But anyway,
back to the show.
Yeah.
So Deke is the company that produced this. We've discussed a few of their shows. We had done Teen Wolf. Me and my friend Ron did Teen Wolf, and I thought there was another one that we talked about, but I'm not really seeing it here. What they're known for, their shows are not really that successful. They had Heckle and Jekyll for a couple years, Popeye for a few. Fat Dog with the Cosby Kids is probably the most successful show.
Oh, definitely.
There's some here, like, I've seen almost every single one of these cartoons. None of them are really that good, but they're always kind of like cult followings. There's Drac Pack. There was Quickie Koala Show, Black Star, Gilligan's Planet. Literally, Gilligan's Island, but set on a planet. One that I was fascinated by as a kid, which no one seems to have any memory of, is Meatballs and Spaghetti. It was a fat guy, Meatball, and a skinny girl, Spaghetti, and they were in a rock and roll band with their dogs, and they went around on adventures. It was crazy. Dungeons and Dragons, that's really well known. They did the Charlie Brown and Snoopy Show, Get Along Gang. Oh, Muppet Babies. Everybody knows Muppet Babies.
Oh my gosh, yes, Muppet Babies. Yes, that was one of the ones I knew big time. I think before I knew actual Muppets. Yeah. It was always Muppet Babies.
Galaxy High, which I watched like a fiend. And of course, their most notorious show when it comes to like controversy is the Mighty Mouse, The New Adventures from 87, 88, because it was constantly throwing in all these things that were like, whoa, was that allowed on a kid's show? We should discuss that one sometimes because it's pretty outrageous.
Indeed. Now I'm guessing here, pole position, I guess, these two, like, this racing duo between brother and sister, or I guess driving some high-tech gear. Like they're pretty much like happier versions of Knight Rider.
You know what? You have to say there's probably an influence of Knight Rider in this. I honestly played the video game as a kid. I don't remember there being a plot whatsoever. So they must have just hired a crew just to come up with some random stuff to throw in, which is strange because there was a handful of cartoons based on video games around that time. And the games kind of had a plot you could hinge onto. This is one where they're just like, it just has to have cars in it. Just do whatever. Just have cars. All right, cool.
The only Nintendo games that I remember ever playing that had plots were Super Mario and, Batman.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's bare bones plot to Pac-Man, which is a really good cartoon. So that's something. Donkey Kong had a little bit of a story, so, there's that.
Yeah. Donkey Kong. Oh wait, there was an actual animated show in the 80s. I was thinking of the 3D animated one in like early 2000s.
Oh yeah, no, there's a cartoon called Saturday Supercade, which I would love to cover. When what's that movie again with Adam Sandler coming out? Pixels.
Oh yeah.
Well, Saturday Supercade was from the same company that did this, and they had Frogger, Donkey Kong Jr., Donkey Kong, Q*bert, and I think there's a couple others mixed in there, and it's a lot of fun.
Super Mario Super Brothers show with Lou Ferrigno?
Oh,
no. Lou Albano.
Lou Albano, yeah.
Me, Lou Albano. Hey, paisanos.
It's me, Mario. Actually, you got it right. He had more of a gruff voice. Pole Position is probably a game that's actually really forgotten, but at the time it was huge. It's a Namco game. Namco made a few sequels to this, but in 1983 it was the highest grossing arcade game in North America. 20,000 machines were sold for a total of $61 million. That's just the machines. That's not counting the money that it actually brought in. And I mean, just it's stunning that it was so successful, but I think it's a pretty much forgotten game.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure they covered some, or at least like made an homage to that in Wreck-It Ralph. With Turbo-tastic.
Yeah,
Turbo.
It might be. I haven't even watched all of Wreck-It Ralph. I should really get around to doing that.
Oh, dude, I highly recommend it. I mean, yeah, it's a Pixar film, but it appeals to like every video game, like ever. Like you'll see an Easter egg from everything. pretty much. It's like you'll see even, well, they had to give some money to Capcom because they used, Capcom characters like Zangief and M. Bison and Ryu. Pretty much almost all the Street Fighter characters. They even had like a Metal Gear Solid little Easter egg where, Rick and Ralph's like digging through the Lost and Found, and he finds the exclamation point that you see that pops above people's heads when you get caught, and then he goes in intruder mode. There's also, of course, yes, Mario, Sonic, there's all sorts of stuff.
Now, I don't think this was the very first game to have a sit-down cabinet, but you know what I'm talking about, where you go in and it encompasses your whole body, basically, where you sit in like a hub.
Right.
Like those classic. It's one of the very first games I've ever seen where it was set up like that. I know there was a Star Wars game I used to love to play, and Star Trek also had one. But at the time, it was really unusual to have a game. What do you even call those? Like the closed consoles where you sit down. Oh, cockpit. It's like a cockpit, and it had the pedal and the shifting gears and stuff like that. Whereas the stand up was just not the same. And whenever you found one of those sit down, you're like, woo! It's just so awesome.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially the Episode 1 Pod Racer game, which I think was the only cool thing that came out of, the Star Wars prequel.
Yeah. Was that
and Darth Maul.
Was that a cockpit, or was that a sit down, like, where it's an open field but you have a real seat?
Oh, it's like an open field, but you have like a real seat. You actually have the shifting gears, but it's not like you're not entombed in like a case. No.
Yeah, I think they pretty much stopped doing that. You see one every once in a while. Usually like a shooting game, where you're in a cabinet. But a lot of times it's really open, like the Fast and Furious game, which is kind of open. And what was one I just played? I played a Batman one where you're in the Batmobile, but it has tons of like little gadgets all around. You're sitting in it or whatever, but you're not closed in. I think that's kind of. I think it's because some people get claustrophobic.
Yeah, that could be it too. It's like, who knows? Like, oh gosh, I don't know how some kids are just somewhat born claustrophobic from now on. I don't know why. It's like, you think they wouldn't? I mean, being in a womb for 9 months, and then, you're finally out and free. It's like you'd be kind of used to that, deep down, subconsciously.
The game company that developed this is Bally Midway. Now, they produce their own systems now for the arcades, but back in the day, I guess they didn't have the finances to do that. No, actually, I have this backwards. I'm sorry. Namco approached Bally Midway, and Bally chose wrong. They chose a game called Mappy, which I have played, which is boring as hell. And then Atari got the rights to Pole Position. Now, what's weird is, so Atari made a ton of money off the console, the arcade console. Why is it that they were broke the same year? Pole Position came out in 1983. They made $60 million off that alone. How is it that same year they were bankrupt? That has to be just really, really bad spending.
I can't say. For me, like, I never even knew of Atari until later when I actually hit the hard arcades and played Pong and all the old classic games. I was always with, Super Nintendo and stuff like that. Sega Genesis and then on.
Right. But, in 1983, 84, video games were on the verge of disappearing forever because Atari screwed up bad. First off, there's too many consoles at once. Back then the world wasn't ready for the Commodore, the Intellivision, the Atari, the what's the one with the weird?
There was Jaguar. I want to say
Jaguar wasn't until '95.
Virtual Boy.
No,
that was like in the '90s.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the original downfall in 1984. Those systems, the games. They didn't. Nintendo changed everything because they had quality assurance. You wanted a game put on their console, you had to go to them, and they placed like a special chip in there so that they knew it was official. Now Atari and Commodore and Television, ColecoVision, they didn't do any of this kind of stuff. So whoever could produce a game would put it on the console, and it didn't matter if it was good or bad. There was no quality assurance whatsoever. So people would go to the store trying to buy video games for their kids, and sure, they asked for Pole Position, the home console game. Well, that's $40. Why would I spend $40 on Pole Position when I look at this bin filled with shitty games that are no good, but you can get 10 games for the same exact price? And that's what destroyed video games, is because there was no quality whatsoever. But Nintendo saved it. What's funny is it's almost 30 years ago today where Nintendo was launched and saved video games.
Pretty much, yeah. Decisions like that are what happened to THQ. THQ just kept coming out with all these, low quality games, and that they eventually bankrupted themselves. and they were the ones against used gaming.
Yeah, LJN did the same thing. Licensing, spending a ton of money licensing a movie, and then making the worst game. But everybody was suckered in for years, and then finally we just got wise to it, and then they went bust.
Right. I do want to say this. Namco, I think the most known franchise I know that they've done recently was Soul Calibur, or the whole Soul Edge, Soul Calibur genre. I thought that was one of the most fun ones and most one of the coolest fighting games I've ever played.
Yeah, it's funny.
it's
Pole Position is still available in many, many versions. There's even a Namco Speedway in the collection. There's a plug and play. You ever used one of those plug and plays?
I think so. Yes, where they store a bunch of like old Namco games.
Yeah, it's in
inside.
It's in the controller. Yeah, you just plug it right into your TV. It's awesome.
I know. That's got to be a lot of. Dude, that's got to be a lot of storage too.
Yeah, what's funny is I think that this is now easily available for download. So if you have an Xbox or a Nintendo or whatever, I'm sure you can just go on there, no problem, download for a couple bucks.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, but other than that, I mean, Pole Position, I don't even think it would even get like a remake.
No, it's of its time only. A lot of video games, they have a character that you connect to or a story that's like, hey, you know what? That's something that could be revived. But there are some games. By the way, I want to say this. The dad in this, or whoever this is, he looks a lot like the actor Sam Waterston from Law & Order.
Yeah, he does, actually. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
that guy kind of looks like...
Go ahead.
I think the one with the dark hair kind of reminded me of Patrick Dempsey at one angle.
Yeah. This cartoon only lasted 13 episodes, and there's probably a reason. You still there?
Yeah, I can definitely tell. I can tell already. I'm constantly looking at my watch. I'm like, is this over yet?
No, you did the robot voice, which usually means my internet's cutting out. But maybe you are just turning into a robot. I knew it this whole time.
Oh no, my phone is gonna assimilate into my body, and I'm gonna turn into a robot, just like in Superman 3.
I think we could probably end this now. I mean, we're not to the end. We usually try to finish. We're fairly close, but we would just be padding this for the next 7 minutes. Pole Position.
Yeah.
It was on for 13 episodes. I remember it was rerun for a couple years, I feel, on CBS. And I liked it at the time, but, it doesn't hold up. And, of course, it has
not
nothing.
At all.
The video game had no plot, so why would you connect to this at all? I don't get it.
Yeah. She kind of reminds me of Adrienne Barbeau.
Barbeau butt.
Yep.
All right, so I think we're going to go ahead and stop it here. Go ahead. If you want to continue watching it at home, we have no problem with that whatsoever. I will recommend Speed Racer. I would only recommend Pole Position as kind of a time capsule of the moment, especially if you're into video games. But there are much better cartoons out there. There's Dragon Slayer and Space Ace, which are amazing. There's Saturday Super Kid. There's the Mario Brothers show. I'm not going to say Zelda. That name is evil. That was one of the worst cartoons ever.
Oh, God.
And the Pac-Man cartoon, of course, is one of my favorites. Whenever it's on, I just eat it up. I love that cartoon. That was not a pun.
Yeah, no. Oh, my God. Me? Yes. Do you usually have a side of cherries?
I do.
Oh, all right.
Me,
honestly, you got me hooked into Captain N. That one I'm definitely going to continue watching.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that one. That one's awesome because it's a bunch of different worlds all together. Yeah, so Pole Position.
Especially the Castlevania world.
Pole Position is really on the bottom there, probably close to the Legend of Zelda cartoon. So I'd probably skip that unless it's just pure curiosity. So I guess that's we tried to do an episode that was close to Fast and Furious and some sort of street racing car oriented thing. We tried watching Speed Buggy. I never actually got around to it, but we might try that later. There's Mask, which is like G.I. Joe but with cars and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. We were talking about doing DuckTales and Rescue Rangers next.
Yes, we could do that. That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so...
Or should we stick to...
Go ahead.
I was like, should we stick to like a Marvel cartoon? Because that's going to be coming out soon.
Well, the plan was DuckTales, Rescue Rangers, and then after that we're going to do Marvel cartoons because of Avengers coming out. So we'll have like 2 episodes of those.
Okay, sounds perfect.
Thank you everybody for your support. Check us out, Retro Rocket Entertainment. We have all of our shows up there. Of course, Back in Toons is the one that gets so much love, so much support. Thank you, everybody. If you have a double feature you have in mind, let us know. Otherwise, Signing off. This is Michael. Peace out.
Yeah, this is Jacob. I want to show my appreciation as well. We love you. Oh gosh, it's like, oh my god, it just makes me want to sing, something from, Cat in the Hot Tin Roof, or is it Fiddler on the Roof? I can't remember. It's the Matchmaker song. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a find and catch me a catch. And I found my catch with this audience. I will say that much right now. All right. Everybody have a good night. Have fun.
You realize
Namaste, good luck.
There's probably going to be a restraining order file after this.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, that's right, because I forget. I mean, I'm still thinking our most of our audience would be like, adults, not kids.
Yes. Let's keep this PC. All right, everybody.
Oh my gosh! It's like school. It's almost like school. That scene in School of Rock when Jack Black is like, talking about, how he's, that kind of situation.
Oh
like,
yeah.
He didn't touch them at
Your
all.
children have touched me, and I have touched them.
Something like that. Please, let's not take this out of proportion. Let's not freak out over every little thing.
Hey, look! A Dungeons and Dragons ride! Wow, neat!
Give me a break.
I don't like this!
Whoa! What's happening?
Whoa! Where are we?
Look out! Fear not, Ranger. Barbarian, magician, thief, cavalier, and acrobat.
Who was that?
That was Venger, the force of evil. I am Dungeon Master, your guide in the realm of Dungeons and Dragons.
Welcome everybody to Back in Toons. I'm your host Michael, and this episode is 6 months in the making. I finally was able to get my co-host. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tony, you still there?
Hey everybody, this is Tony Racy.
And we've been talking about doing this episode for about 6 months now, but things just keep getting in the way. And listeners will just notice that the phone call got disconnected, and I had to go, hey, wait, where are you? Sometimes Skype is a pain in the butt. All right, so the very first episode of Dungeons & Dragons is called The Night of No Tomorrow. It's complete up on YouTube. Go ahead and hit play now. We'll just discuss the cartoon while we go.
Let me see if I can get the DVD player to work. Oh, crap.
So the opening theme of this is kind of strange because most cartoons had a music set up, and at best it would show names. This one's kind of weird because it has music in the background but narration up front, which is very unusual for a cartoon. I don't think I've ever seen that outside of this cartoon.
Right. It's cool because they give you the whole storyline in like the opening credit sequence. They don't have to go over it again at any other time. They never have to and they keep every time you see it. It's like you're reminded, oh yeah, that's how they got there. They took that crazy tunnel of love / horror funhouse ride into this crazy Dungeons and Dragons realm.
Yeah, it's a weird way to intro, but at least it cuts down the exposition every episode. This is how we got here, and they're like, well, just watch the intro, you'll be fine.
Right.
Oh, wow, I didn't realize the writer of this, Mark Evanier, he would go on to do a bunch of cartoon and comic book work, and in fact, he's kind of considered the expert on modern-day animation.
Wow.
Like, if you watch any sort of, commentary track or behind the scenes on Looney Tunes and Disney and stuff like that, his name is almost always there.
Really?
Did you have a problem when you were a kid? Like, did your parents have issue with you being into Dungeons and Dragons? Because my parents would not let me.
Well, the thing is, I didn't really have any, the friends I had were younger, but, I lived in, low-income housing apartments at the time, and there was no other kids. If there was any white kids in the area, no one was playing Dungeons & Dragons. And you needed multiplayer to play it. The reason I like the cartoon so much is I didn't have to, buy the game and try to track out friends who were, a little older than me, who knew how to play. And then, I wish I would have been into the game, but I just was, this was as close as I can get to it. So I had no idea how close the game was to the cartoon, or if it was. I'm pretty sure it was nothing like the cartoon.
Yeah,
but
Have you played D&D since?
No, I just never had a chance to. It's never come up.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like indicative of the area I was from. You know what I mean? Like suburban Philadelphia, how the kids are into it there or whatnot, or if they were, I didn't know them, But I think it was certainly. I think it was certainly bigger, like either farther northeast or further west. Like kids were certainly more into it.
When it was going around, I think it was around 5th or 6th grade. The cartoon I think was over by then, and I was talking to some friends at school, and they were like into D&D, and I'm like, oh, I gotta play that. And I was telling my mom about this, and she was like, oh, no, you are never playing D&D. Some kids killed each other because they were playing D&D. Do you remember that? Some kids were playing D&D for real?
I forgot the whole occult angle, how people got so fired up about things like that in the 80s. Whether it was listening to heavy metal music or something like that. I totally forgot about that, all that occult nonsense and the paranoia parents had with all that kind of stuff. I think in my area people were less afraid of that and more afraid of actual crime that could happen. You know what I mean? Drugs, etc.
Yeah, where you grew up and where I grew up are totally different. The town that I grew up in was fairly conservative, and then I moved to another town that was bananas on religion. It was literally called the City of Churches, and it's the kind of town that banned the Harry Potter books because they thought it was promoting satanic works to children.
God, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But yeah, they wouldn't let people play D&D. It's during that whole era of what I call satanic panic. You couldn't listen to heavy metal. You couldn't do any oddball stuff. You couldn't be strange in any way, and you could not play D&D. So the best I had was this cartoon.
I mean, it's still totally the wrong way to go about it. If you want to diffuse a situation, just act like so. But go ahead, check it. It won't do anything. It won't work. So of course that made people oh yeah, it'll give me satanic messages. Well, now I gotta hear it. And then of course, that's just horseshit. It's not doing anything. That's crazy. What's everybody so worried about?
Yeah, it reminds me of what's that movie, The Gate? Do you remember that one where he opens the portal?
Yeah, was that Steven, a young Steven Dorff?
Yeah, it always reminded me of that, and then I became terrified of anything slightly connected to Satanism. So yeah, I never even went near Dungeons and Dragons.
That used to be on HBO all the time. My friend had the HBO up the street, and I used to watch it all the time. And it was these little gray goblin creatures came out, and super creepy.
Yeah.
I think I rewatched a few years back. I'm like, oh man, the CGI or CGI in this is terrible. How was that? How was I scared of this back then?
It was stop motion animation. I still think stop motion can be kind of unnerving if it's done right. So D&D, the cartoon, is the only thing I was allowed to watch. I got to play Dungeons & Dragons. I think it was either in 8th grade or really early in high school. And by the time I got done playing it, I was like, that sucked. Now, I know that probably burns some bridges right now to some of the listeners because they're hardcore D&D fans, but I do not have the attention span or the ability to follow rules very well, so it's the kind of game that just tortured me.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to be I guess, into the structure of the game. Then you got to have a decent imagination, and if you have ADD, playing a game like that, it's really tough.
Oh, yeah.
You really have to focus.
Yeah, try giving me Monopoly, my brain explodes. It's like, how many hours do I have to commit to this game? Oh my god.
Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what's cool about the cartoon. It kind of plays the game for you, or as much as I knew. You know what I mean? This is probably exactly what the game's like. Why don't you have to play it? I just watch it on TV. Take the lazy man's route.
Yeah. What is it? The video games aren't too bad. I have one on my Xbox I got free, and it's pretty entertaining because it doesn't make you do a whole lot of the world building, and it's just basically a straightforward hack and slash.
Oh, that's cool.
What's a Baldur's Gate?
It's got my name written all
over. In Magic the Gathering, I tried playing that in college, and it's almost the same exact rule, except that it cost a friggin' fortune. Because you got to get all these cards, and it's just I watched my friend basically go broke buying the cards, and I was like, all right, you're selling this, let me check it out. And I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't need to do this.
I work with this guy, and him and his ex-girlfriend are in this dispute over a Magic the Gathering card. Apparently, this one card is super valuable, and I was like, really? He's like, well, she wants my Magic card. I was like, it's probably this is the nerdiest dispute I've ever heard in my life. He's like, it's pretty valuable though, man. It's like a couple $100. I was like, really?
Wait, Magic the Gathering is still going on? It's not out of business?
Oh no, people still do it. I see packs at stores. People still buy it.
I had no idea. I thought it went out of business years ago. I thought people
I
moved
guess
on to
this was
something
like an
else.
older, rare, vintage card, and people still. This kid's still playing, as far as I know, and his ex-girlfriend is too, apparently.
So here's the funny thing about Dungeons and Dragons, and it kind of has the look. If you know cartoons from the early '80s, it won't surprise you that Marvel is responsible for the production of this cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, it has a real similar look like some of the other action cartoons of the era, your G.I. Joes, your Thundercats, your Transformers. It has that kind of, that sort of, I don't know, a sort of general look.
Yeah, there's two usually different schools of the animation, and they usually have an anime style, which is what Transformers and G.I. Joe had. You can usually tell because Japanese animation, either it's done differently or it's done on a lower budget because it kind of has a slight blur effect. Whereas this looks like it's done without any blur whatsoever, so it might have been produced in America. Trying to look here to see who ended up doing. Oh no, it is a Japanese company, Toei. I don't think I'm even saying that right. TOEI. I see that name here and there, but they mostly do American stuff, I think, during the 80s, and then went back to doing their 90s stuff. Nope, I'm wrong. I don't recognize any of these cartoons except Dragon Ball and Transformers, like, at the very end. Oh, they did a Dragon Quest cartoon? You were a Dragon Warrior, right?
Yeah.
Dragon Warrior, I didn't realize that they did a cartoon for that. I love that game. You have encountered a slime.
All right, see if you can find that cartoon online somewhere.
Yeah, I love that game, but overseas it's called Dragon Quest. I think it's called Dragon Quest here now, but for a long time it was Dragon Warrior.
Huh.
You know what's weird is this was on for 3 years, and the very final episode, which was going to wrap up everything and then kind of do a spin-off, it never got made. They wrote the script, but they never bothered to doing it. Why would you go for 3 years and then just go, screw the fans, we're just going to leave it open-ended?
Yeah, like I have the DVDs, and in I think they made some fan fiction where they kind of did a live action version, and they gave it their own kind of closure. But I think they had the script punched up and everything. I just never went into production, and they just never made it. And it involved Avengers somehow doing something. I can't remember exactly what, but
now you paid a bloody fortune for your DVDs, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like an idiot. It was a few years back, though. It was a couple years back. I don't think that this would have been on YouTube back then anyway. Well, at least the YouTube catalog, it wasn't what it is now.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, Milk Creek also put out a complete
I
collection.
was having a hankering for for some Asian sad time, I suppose. Oh, nice.
So the voice...
I did try to watch them. Go ahead, sorry, man.
The voice cast on this is a lot stronger than most cartoons at the time. If you look at it, it's Willie Ames, of course. He was at a peak when this cartoon came out. Not so much now. I think he's basically known for Bible Man. I think Bible Man's pretty much over, too. And
Well, I mean, I don't know who some of the other characters are. They had some of the end some of the end credits. The one little kid, the guy who played Bobby in this, went on to become a dentist. And I don't think he did any voice over acting, but beyond what he did in this cartoon.
Yeah.
So I think he's like a dentist in L.A. somewhere, as far as I know.
Yeah, are you talking about Adam Rich, the one who was on 8 is Enough?
Is that who does the voice of that?
Let me check. Bobby is voiced by Ted Field. No, I have no idea who that is.
Yeah, they had a commentary at the end. They said, he went on to become a dentist. That was one of his proudest moments, what he did when he was 11 years old. So he actually is an 11-year-old playing, I think, an 11-year-old in this cartoon.
Which is extremely rare, because except for this and the Peanuts, it was always let's just pick an older woman who can do a little boy's voice. And then Donnie Most, who was Potsy, right, on Happy Days? I think that's who he was. Yeah, Donnie Most. I'm pretty sure he played Potsy. He plays Eric the Cavalier, yes. And then Adam Rich played Presto, and he was on 8 Is Enough. The rest of them I don't recognize as actors. Most of them just do voice works, like Frank Welker.
Ralph from Happy Days, right?
Right, he played Ralph Mouth. Yeah, he played Eric the Cavalier, and I was saying Adam Rich. He was the one from 8 Is Enough. He played the youngest boy. He was Presto the Magician.
Okay.
And Frank Welker, he is in almost every single cartoon you can imagine. He played the Unicorn, which is, in my opinion, the Unicorn is the most useless, annoying character in the whole series.
Yeah. He's definitely the Jar Jar Binks for this cartoon. There's no reason for him to be here.
Well, there's it's like Cringer and He-Man and Orko and Orko was in Orko was in He-Man. Actually, Orko.
Oh wait, She-Ra.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I'm thinking, what's the one that was in Thundercats? That little Snarf. All these characters are cute and useless. Totally. I cannot stand them.
Well, it seems like they I don't know what plot points they serve. Sometimes it was always them rescuing them from the trouble that they got themselves into. And I'm like, I'm not a pet person, so I guess if you had a pet and you'd have, oh no, Daisy got stuck in the well again, I gotta get her. But Mia's not a pet person. All right, later, idiot. Keep screwing me up. I'm sick of it.
Well, Orko is a magician, so I can't imagine why he constantly needed to be saved. It's like, no, dude, you have more powers than all of us put together. What is wrong with you?
Why don't you just abracadabra yourself out of this situation, jackass?
Yeah, some of these characters they put in these cartoons during the 80s, it seemed like they were just there to either appease, like, girls, like it has kind of an Ewok effect. Actually, let's just call that. It's called the Ewok effect. The cute side character that's almost useless.
Yeah, there's always it was kind of fun to like. They always had a character for comic relief, which would be Eric in this cartoon. And they always have, like, the protagonist hero. And then, of course, the femme fatale, and then, like, the sexy vixen. I guess that's the chick with the pole.
And they always got some villain that's truly hideous.
Yeah, so he's kind of Darth Vader-esque. Maybe it's for the 80s, but I mean, the whole cartoon is very, very Tolkien, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know who voices Venger is Peter Cullen, who did the voice of Optimus Prime.
I was about to say that. It would sound just like Optimus Prime.
Yeah, a few of these guys, they're like, every time we do an episode of this, we kind of run through the cast, we talk about them, and almost every single time you see Peter Cullen and Frank Welker, and I'm like, man, these guys must have had mansions, but then you realize, oh wait, no, they're cartoons during the 80s, they didn't pay them crap.
Yeah. I just saw a documentary about cartoon voiceover work on Netflix now. Like, some of those guys make pretty good money nowadays, but yeah. Back in the 70s and 80s, yeah, totally, that was just kind of a job. Just kind of something you did to make ends meet.
Yeah, sometimes it would be actors who would just try to supplement their income. Now it seems like actors are looking for voice work because, you know, it's not that the work is less, but it's usually faster. You don't have to worry about lighting and setting up the scene and, you know, makeup and clothes. You just walk right in. You got your voice ready? Yeah, we're good. Okay, here's $10,000. Thank you for a day of work. We're like, yes.
Right. Yeah, I think one of the things these voiceover actors got angry about is like people would accuse them of not acting. They're just making voices. No, we're acting. You know what I mean? We're totally acting. We just can't be seen doing it. You know?
Yeah. Did you see Mark Hamill was talking about how he said voice work was the lazy man's job? And I was like, oh, dude, you've survived off this for like 20 years. What are you doing burning your bridges like this?
Yeah, it's so bad. It certainly was living off his Star Wars royalties. I mean, I'm sure that the Batman cartoon alone probably kept food on his table.
Yeah. I don't even know how do you think that worked? Do you think George Lucas was stingy with the the licensing rights, giving out money to people and stuff like that, or do you think he was pretty generous?
I'm sure he was pretty stingy. Who knew? I don't know if when they all signed their contracts at the beginning that they knew it was going to be the juggernaut it turned out to be. You know.
Yeah. Well, no, Fox didn't even think it was going to be a juggernaut because they gave George Lucas the rights to the merchandising. I think he had to give over his paycheck for the movie, but getting the rights to the sequels and the merchandising, oh man, he scored on that one.
Yeah. Whatever deal he made with Kenner for those toys, and holy crap.
Is Kenner still around? I think Kenner went out of business.
I was watching this show on I don't know if it was Discovery or Learning Channel. It was called The Toy Hunter, and this guy went to like the old Kenner factory or whatever that was in St. Louis or something that folded, and he was tracked down. But yeah, I'm not sure when Kenner went out of business. Maybe the late '80s, maybe early '90s, something like that.
Yeah, I used to remember seeing their names everywhere, and they used to grab like all the toy and all the cartoon and movie licenses, and every time a movie would come out, you're like, oh, Crawl, all right, I'll get a toy from that, and then Crawl sucked. You're like, I don't want that toy anymore. Crying Star and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Here's the weird thing is the toy company that licensed the rights to the Dungeons and Dragons figures, it was LJN. I didn't even know they even made action figures. I just know them for really, really bad video games.
Yeah, I've never seen a Dungeons and Dragons toy in my local Toys R Us or toy store in my area. I don't recall ever seeing them around.
You know, it's funny. For some reason, my cartoon paused. Where are you at, time-wise?
What do you mean? I'm at 1:39 p.m. It's not running on the cartoon. Hold on, sorry, man.
It's okay.
Let me double check.
The one thing I noticed in the licensing, I totally forgot about these. I used to have a ton of them. Is the Pick-a-Path adventure books? Do you remember those? The Choose Your Own Adventure?
Oh, yeah. I think there was one called Zork or something like that. I used to read this. I think only one or two, but I used to read the. It was really similar to the Dungeons & Dragons series. I think it was called Zork or The Adventures of Zork or something crazy like that.
You know, I think I had one of those. I had a couple of the Indiana Jones ones, and I used to cheat because I would fast forward to the page. Nope, die. Go back.
I'm sure everybody did that. I was sure it was like, no, like it was, like one paragraph and I'm dead. Okay, I guess let me throw this book away. I'll never read this again. Yeah, I did it all the time. I was like, let's see the better way I could navigate this whole adventure.
I think most of us did that. If there was any way to do that with the Rubik's Cube, I would have loved to have figured that out. The Rubik's Pyramid? It was like a little triangle one. I remember cheating by taking the stickers off and then putting it back on, but they never stuck exactly the right way. And you're like, that's not obvious at all. Nope. All right, everybody. We came to the end of Dungeons and Dragons. I apologize for some of the audio problems. We both live in the middle of nowhere, so it's going to happen. Any last words about D&D?
No, I mean, I totally wish they made at least one last episode or like wrap it all up. I don't know if I would like if they made a reboot. I'm afraid they do a terrible job. You know what I mean? Or there just wouldn't be any interest in it, and it would just like have like 2 episodes.
Yeah, well, the D&D audience has changed so much. At one point, actually, they went out of business or they went bankrupt, and then the company that owns Magic had to buy them and relaunch it. And I think they're more focused not so much on the books, but more focused on the online experience. The video game experience. So the idea of grabbing a book and grabbing a scrap of paper has kind of changed. I know some people still play it though. 20-sided die.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure people are probably still into it. Like it's rainy day games in Portland, or or Tillsboro, I should say, or one of those mini game places in Portland. There's probably have a whole subdivision of fans who are still into Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Well, Portland is an anomaly because they're kind of old school, retro. Plus the fact that it rains so much, they latch on to things that really aren't around anymore. Like people still have VCRs and they still rent movies from a store, and there's lots of bars, strip clubs, and people love their board games.
Yeah, man, I was on Clinton Street, and I was thinking about it. I passed back when I lived in Portland. I passed like a rental shop, VHS rental shop last summer. I was like, holy shit, man! And it's just, I mean, it's kind of hipster. It's a really hipster area. I'm like, of course they're in like an outdated medium, but.
Yeah, it's the only city I know of where cassette tapes will come back. Like new people are putting out new albums on cassette, and you're like, it will only happen here.
Check out my demo mixtape. I was like, no. I was like, is that right by your DeLorean? Should I have back in time 20 years?
Did you ever see the D&D movies?
No.
There's 3 of them. One of them was with Marlon Wayans and that girl from American Beauty. I can't remember. It was kind of a big budget affair. It was like $35 million. Oh, Jeremy Irons is the villain. You never saw that one?
No. What the hell?
Yeah, it came out right before Lord of the Rings. You know how sometimes that happens when a big movie's coming out?
Oh, yeah, I remember now.
Yeah.
I totally remember when that was out. Totally. I never saw it, but I do remember it being around.
Well, since you haven't seen it, I'll say real quick to the audience, I would say the first one has a couple of the moments where you're like, oh, it's just like the game. This is just like the maze that I played. But Marlon Wayans is treated basically like a servant. You know, he's a minstrel, so it's pretty racist, and it's kind of stupid. The second one gets it right. It feels exactly as if you had taken the concept of the game and put it into a movie, but it's so much more low budget. Like, the first one's like $40 million. The second one's like $10-12 million. And then the third one, the final chapter that was on Sci-Fi Channel, looks like what Sci-Fi Channel puts on the air now, if you know what I mean. Like, low-budget garbage. Like Sharknado. It's that kind of... So only watch the second one if you want something that's close to being what you expect out of a D&D movie.
Nice. I'll definitely have to go check that out.
Yeah, I've never seen... There's a couple animated movies, but I've never seen them.
Huh.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say, that would have to be on YouTube as well, would it?
You know what? They are on YouTube. That's where I found it. Because the third Dungeons & Dragons movie only aired on Sci-Fi Channel, I think, twice. And then it's never been put on video. It's never been aired again. So, you know what? Fair game. It's something like that. Go ahead and find a bootleg. I think all three of them are up on YouTube.
Nice. Definitely check those out.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for sitting through this episode. There were some technical difficulties. Maybe we can erase some of those in editing. But furthermore, thank you for your support. Thank you for the suggestions for cartoons. Check us out on Facebook under Retro Rocket Entertainment. And soon, I'll have the Back in Toons page up so you can catch all of our episodes all at once. Not all at once, because that'd be a weird, disaster of sounds. But you know what I mean. Am I never not awkward?
That's kind of your style, man. That's what people come to love and expect.
Yeah. Thank you, Tony, for sitting this one out. It was one of those things where we talked about it back in, I think, October, November, and things just never lined up. It was my fault, man. I'm up all night. I had a job where I was up all night, and I'd be awake for maybe 2 hours during the day. And when I was awake, I was like, oh, this world sucks. And then just fall back asleep.
Life totally got in the way.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to sign off now. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.
All right, man. See you. Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Right on.